What is going on, YouTube? It is Professor Diehard. I am joined here with Aries from Aries Gaming Productions. What's going on, Aries?
Yo.
Alright, before we get started, is there a way to adjust the music volume while you're in the game?
Yeah,
I
I
need
think
to
you just
look
go
at that.
to options and do it.
I just want to lower the music option just a little bit because um, we should have the couch conversation in the hot tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all right, guys. So the question is, and it's the title of the video: should you buy Final Fantasy VII? Um, to kind of start off, let's just talk about our experiences with Final Fantasy in general, right? So my experience of Final Fantasy started with shoot, what was the first game I played that was Final Fantasy? I'm pretty sure. Oh my God, Hunter! Dick Cheney made money off the Iraq War. Jesus Christ! Nothing to do with what we're talking about. But thank you for your contribution to the conversation. Jesus Christ! All right. I think the first Final Fantasy game that I played was the remake or the remastered of 7. But I played other Final Fantasy. I'm really trying to remember. It's been a long time since I thought about it. What was your first one you played?
The first one that I actually played before I went down the rabbit hole, because there was like a time where I played like specifically Final Fantasy games, I think for like a whole year almost.
Yeah.
Like I was just like getting my hands on them just to play them. And so like once I would start on one, I would just play all the way through it and finish it. The first one I actually played though was Final Fantasy Type 0. And
Yes, that's the first one that I came across.
yeah.
That's what it
So,
was. Yes,
so Final Fantasy Type 0
fantastic
is actually
game.
probably still one of my favorite RPGs of all time.
Fantastic. Go play it if you never
It's
played it.
yeah, it's probably one. It's just fantastic. Yeah, I would sit here and literally spoil the entire game for everyone if I'm not careful. So just go and play the fucking game, and finish it too. Don't
See, I
get
never
halfway
got to finish it.
through.
I left it at my
Yeah,
apartment when I came back home. I'm so upset. I want to play it.
yeah. Get halfway. Don't get halfway through. Go ahead, finish it. And it's also like one of the last RPGs that I think just has like a straight up cheat to level up your folks, which is really
I
funny.
also want to say something
Um,
else to that. Final Fantasy Type 0 had a lot of influence in how the mechanics of Final Fantasy 15
Yes,
had,
yeah, because
which,
it was
yeah,
originally going to be a title with Final Fantasy. It was going to be because Final Fantasy 15 has a long history to it. It was originally called Final Fantasy 13 Versus, and even had an E3 trailer like for just the verses that was going to come out
yeah.
as, and uh,
Jesus Christ,
so
Ollie.
there was like a lot of the stuff that they had for just that ended up being turning into Final Fantasy 15. Now, I did play Final Fantasy 15. I did finish it. I finished the base game. I didn't buy the Royal Edition or do any of the other episodes. But I ended up just watching the cutscenes for the episodes. And I almost wish that Final Fantasy 15 would have been made as a movie instead of a game.
Mhm.
Because it seems like that's what they were almost wanting to do with it anyway. Because the combat in Final Fantasy 15 is not my favorite. I do like action RPGs, but I like action RPGs with some, with at least a little bit of options for like me moving around with the character. I don't want to feel stuck in the mud. Any game I feel stuck in the mud with, I'm fucking over it. I'm done with it. If the RPG is too slow, I don't want any part of it. And 15, I think, felt halfway for me. So 15 was that. So that was the next one that I played. I played 15. The next one that I played was Final Fantasy 4.
Oh
Which,
wow, yeah, you brought it back. Are you
yeah.
coming to the hot tub, by the way? I'm waiting in the hot tub. Where you at, bro?
Oh my god, yeah. So,
There he is.
yeah.
This is how we should do our couch conversations now.
Yes.
Get PT in here. Alright, continue on, sorry.
But
All right, but
So,
you
essentially, yeah. So, Final Fantasy IV. Then I played. A buddy of mine sent me over a modded version of the first Final Fantasy, and I got to play that. So I got to play the very first one with the Warrior of Light and everything like that. And fight Garland, that fucking goddamn bastard. But played that. I played Final Fantasy VI after that. Then I played Final Fantasy VII. Then I played Final Fantasy VIII after that. So, 8 I thought was going to be my last Final Fantasy game I was playing, because at this point I had played fucking like 5 or 6 of them, and I was like, I think I'm a little bit Final Fantasy'd out, honestly. Then I surprised myself by playing Final Fantasy 13, 13-2, and Lightning Returns, the trilogy, all the Lightning trilogy. Played all of that, and I think I beat that whole trilogy in a week. Yeah, because I just literally did nothing that week but do schoolwork, sit down, and play those games. And
so basically, you've had like we've had some pretty good experiences with Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I've had fantastic.
Yeah, and when the new remaster of Final Fantasy VII came out, like I actually played through it all. Had a good experience with it. It's really dated. Good God, those polygon. Jesus Christ, those polygons are just. I don't know how much I liked it, but it was still a good experience. But then Final Fantasy VII came out, and the biggest argument that people have right now is that it's episodic in nature, and no one really wants to, pay money for a game that's not completely out. And I understand what they're saying. Like, if you look at Final Fantasy 15, honestly, that's a different argument there. Final Fantasy 15 wasn't even a full game, in my opinion, when it came out.
No.
There's a lot of things you can do, and in my opinion, I had a good time playing it. But there were so many plot holes, so many moments that just seemed so quick. And once you got to a certain point in the game, like, you couldn't, like, go travel anywhere anymore. And
you had to do the story.
Basically, the game was a road trip with your boys, and you take pictures. And one of the funniest videos I've ever seen was the final the final cutscene in the game, where like you can select a picture of spoiler. Noctis dies, and he gets reunited with Luna, and they're on the throne. And before he goes to that final boss fight, he picks a picture that like you took through the whole journey. And this one guy took a picture of the mechanic girl, like just her in the picture. And you see Luna look at it, just so happy. She starts like nodding, and it's such a weird, happy moment. I'm like. She does that to any picture. That's what's funny. Because you could pick like a picture of just her,
picture of the car,
or maybe the picture of just like everybody, like the group photo you get. But no, they picked the freaking over sexualized mechanic girl. Okay, anywho, super fun. We enjoyed it, but
who historically Sid has always been like the.
Yeah, he's in every game, most games.
So they just made it a girl this time and made her boobs ginormous, but But yeah.
By the way, Hunter and Holly are just absolutely blowing up the chat. They're Holly just said 2 bros chilling in the hot tub.
Oh my god! But the thing was about. So yeah.
Tell me your reasons why you don't want to buy it right now.
Okay, yeah. So my reasons for not wanting to buy it. Again, this is a lot of people that have probably actually played through all Final Fantasy VII probably get where I'm coming from too. But just going from Final Fantasy VII for the full game that we got, which by the way was still kind of episodic because this is back in the PS1 days.
It had 2 discs, didn't it?
You had multiple discs.
Yeah.
And the same thing for Final Fantasy VIII. You did the same thing for that. It wasn't the first game to do that. There were other games that did that, but so yes, you could technically argue that it was episodic then, but it really wasn't because it was a full game. It was just broken up into 2 discs. They had the full game on sale, and what I'm now calling the Square Enix disease, where Square Enix is putting out RPGs and leaving out a good chunk of portions of the story for their games,
Mm-hmm.
and they're basically saying, give us $60 now, and we're not going to give you dates, but we're going to give you content eventually.
Yeah. So let me hop in here. So I agree with you on that end. There's not really been any communication. Like you play games like Battlefront 2, they have like roadmap systems, and most of them they've not even done because they failed to maintain the roadmaps. But I guess the way I'm looking at this is that they took the first portion of the original game where you're in this, I can't remember what it's called. What's the Midgar? You're in Midgar, and that's like the main focus of this first episode. And I think it's actually really cool because here's the thing that some people argue about, like the Star Wars series, for instance, how like it's or no, excuse me, the Witcher series. Everyone gets mad, and I agree with them, that like it felt too spread apart. Like there's so many things that's happening in those episodes, and I'm trying to think. Like there's so many time skips, and you're wondering, okay, what happened here? What happened there? Like why is there so many time skips? Why can't we not have like a consistent story that, you know, maybe like a couple weeks later, but like God, you're telling me like it's been years later? Just because someone has said it's been a couple years later. What I like what Final Fantasy VII is doing right now is that it's actually fleshing out even more what the original game did. Because like you're in Midgar obviously in the first game. No one's arguing that, but like it's not as in depth as you think it is. It's very shallow's not the right word, but there's no. There's great moments in the original game, and I've played it myself, and I enjoyed it all. But what this game is doing, the remake, is it's fleshing out these areas so much more to the fact that the NPCs are real, they're believable, have great dialogue. Your characters actually interact with them that make the world seem real. The graphics are amazing. And the combat is amazing. But like
the reason why it also seems really fleshed out too is that like the characters in the first little section in Midgar and 7, there would be characters that would pop up that didn't seem like they had a purpose.
But now they do.
Up. And now from what I've seen for the cutscenes in the 7 remake, is that even like the characters that you kind of get introduced to just in Midgar that really you don't think are important, or actually do have their own kind of story. They do have their own type of thing, and even one of the boss fights is not even in the original game.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
amazing boss fight. Honestly,
yes,
it looks really good.
That's the one I was mentioning earlier before we started the stream, about the sword fighting and all that.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about it is because they're splitting up. Don't get me wrong. In a perfect world, yes, I would like an entire game. Give it to me right now. But what honestly, I like the idea of splitting it up. And I don't know how, my opinion may change depending on, because are they not going to? You have to buy the other episodes, do you not?
I'm pretty sure they're going to have you buy.
But we don't know that yet, so we can't say that for sure.
Yeah.
We can't say that for sure.
I have just from what Square has done historically, I don't see why they wouldn't do it.
Okay, and I understand what you're saying, but until they do it, that's when we just don't know yet, and that's what makes me upset is because they haven't told us how that's going to be done, which I think they're doing that on purpose. So granted, that's a two-way street, but in my opinion, when you go to a movie theater and you see like one of the Marvel movies, it's if you look at all the movies, they're kind of like a pyramid scheme. If you think about it, they're all foundations building up to the next level, to the next level, to the next level, then you get to Endgame, the very top. And when I think about that, I think about this game. I think about how like they're actually really taking time to flesh out these individual episodes, and to the point where they're not like the Hitman games, where like they're just miniature areas that like you have to run around and kill your target and stuff. It's like it's more fleshed out and more love and detail put into each of these episodes. So that's the reason why I like it, and I think that it's a good idea. But my problem is, are they going to charge us another full game for the next episode? How much money are they going to want to take out of people's wallets for this game? And I also look at games like Witcher 3. Witcher 3 was a pretty massive game, but I also, and yes, But I will also call into question, by the end of the time when all these episodes are out, how big of a game Final Fantasy VII ends up turning out to be versus what Witcher 3 was. Because I don't know. It's already looking like it's going to be way bigger than Witcher 3. Is that possible? Who knows?
But
I don't know.
here's to give a little background on what Square Enix actually does with their games that they've done during the decade. So a lot of people don't know this, but when they announced on E3, they announced Final Fantasy VII, Kingdom Hearts 3, and they had not started working on the games yet. It was kind of similar to what we got with Anthem, where it looked, kind of promising, and then turns out they had not even started working on the game. But BioWare did it differently, where they had 6 years to work on the game, and basically came up with shit. And I think, most reasonable people will agree that Anthem did not live up to the expectations that was set for it. That was basically what it had been hyped up to be by EA and BioWare. And then come to find out, it wasn't even EA's fault. It's actually BioWare's fault.
You're talking about BioWare. Yeah.
So what Square did was release these trailers, and we're like, okay, which one are we going to do first? And for a good bit, it was actually Kingdom Hearts 3. They said, okay, people were waiting 10 years for another numbered Kingdom Hearts game. Not these 2.8, 2.7, 2.9, 0.2s. They actually wanted Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay, yeah. I see where you're going, yeah.
So,
I don't think they're going to go that route.
No.
I hope to God not, but I hated that's what they did with the Kingdom Hearts series. I really did not like it.
But the reason why Kingdom Hearts kept getting pushed back was because Square split the development teams. They split. Originally, it was all of Square Enix's full manpower that was being put into Kingdom Hearts 3. Somewhere in that process, Tetsuya Nomura, the guy who created both Final Fantasy VII and Kingdom Hearts, eventually was like, we could finish it, but we really need to start working on this other project. So he split the development teams to an A and a B team. The B team would work on Kingdom Hearts 3, the A team was going to start working on Final Fantasy VII Remake. What they ended up doing during that was that they shifted the focus away from actually finishing Kingdom Hearts 3 and started working on just getting the demo started for Final Fantasy VII. They were working on the demo. And what ended up happening, I think, was that Kingdom Hearts 3 got stuck on the storyboard.
Yeah.
And they didn't
no one
know
was working
what
on
to
it anymore.
Yeah, because they didn't know what to actually do with the story once they had actually gotten all the worlds made, all the game stuff created, and everything like that. And I'm sure Nomura did probably the best with what he could with the story with Kingdom Hearts, because I'll be the first one to tell you, as someone who understands the entire lore of Kingdom Hearts, it's a lot to actually wrap your head around what the characters are, what are they doing now, why is this character not there, why is this character here, why are there no Final Fantasy characters in there, like all these reasons for why stuff is happening. And so they ended up kind of putting it a little bit together for the Remind DLC, which I bought and I played. Now, the Remind DLC is what the game probably should have been in its final state.
Did they not add the Final Fantasy characters into that?
They did, but they're only in cutscenes.
Okay, so that, in my opinion, I think Kingdom Hearts loses a couple points just because they did not include the Final Fantasy characters. That literally made the experience so much better, because it's the idea of taking Final Fantasy and Disney together,
and melding them together in a
they
world.
said no, it's
that
become so good that we don't need it anymore. False.
No, they literally came out with something that said the Kingdom Hearts universe has so many well-developed characters that the Final Fantasy series was basically introduced to help the game stand on its legs. Tetsuya Nomura argued that since the universe had become so expansive and the story was so kind of intertwined with the different characters that they wouldn't have had time to do it. and that it didn't need it. What they didn't realize is that some of the most fond memories of people have during Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 was, of course, Secret Boss Sephiroth. I mean, it's hard to replace a Secret Boss fight with Sephiroth with just about anything else. With a Heartless, no less. I'm pretty sure that's what they replaced him with. But because wouldn't it be fun if you go to the Keyblade Graveyard and instead of fighting the Heartless, you fight just a Data version of Sephiroth? That would have.
It's cool because the
minds.
Sephiroth fight was in both of the original games.
Yeah. Now, given Kingdom Hearts 1 didn't really have a build-up like Kingdom Hearts 2 did. In Kingdom Hearts 1, he's just a Olympus Coliseum fight.
But he was still there.
Yeah, he was still there.
It was still an experience.
Yeah. You can actually fight Yuffie, Leon, and Cloud, I think, in all three of them. And then they did the same thing in Kingdom Hearts 2, where you can go into the Pain and Panic Coliseum and fight Tifa, Cloud, Leon, and Yuffie, which is really fun. But besides that, but even Kingdom Hearts 2 had a build-up even around the Sephiroth and Cloud story, which was really neat, and it actually tied into what was going on during Hall of Bastion. Like, Sephiroth was basically like fucking around during the time of like the Thousand Heartless fight, and Cloud. You got to have the boss fight with him, and then they would have like Cloud and Sephiroth fight, and they had their own story that was like connected with finding Ansem's lab. So all of it really intertwined very well. And but the only thing about Kingdom Hearts 3 was that I just feel like when Square does these things where they split, where they split the development team, and I think any corporation that does this, you automatically are going to see a drop in the quality of the game that comes out. And I feel like the same thing actually happened with Final Fantasy VII, where if they would have just focused on one game at a time and actually made a reasonable release date for these games instead of getting our hopes up, then we would have actually had the full KH3 experience, the full Final Fantasy VII experience.
Yeah. Let's get back to 5 and 7.
But Final Fantasy VII, the other reason I'm not getting it is because of the way basically Square treated the staff that did, or the actors that did all the.
You're talking about the original
voices.
voice work.
Yes, the original voice work for Final Fantasy VII. Steve Burton and George Newbern and all the people who have voiced these characters for almost 20 years, they had contracts signed. They all had contracts to return. It's Steve Burton. If you go back and look at their Twitters, Steve Burton and George Newbern both said, "Yeah, we're coming back. Like, this is a good opportunity for us, and like we'll get like a new."
Yeah, see, that was my question I was wanting to ask you. Was did they even want to come back? Because I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep. Even George Newbern, who hates Sephiroth's character, he's stated that he really is not really too big of a fan of like voicing Sephiroth because he doesn't like the voice like villains. He likes the voice heroes. He was the voice of Superman in Justice League Unlimited and the Injustice games. And
okay, so I have something to say about that. I would rather have a new voice actor that's actually passionate about the role than have someone who's like noted to say, "Oh, I hate voicing this guy." And that's probably a super unpopular opinion. And yeah, his voice may have actually been good for Sephiroth, which I do agree. I always like our jokes will just be, hanging out and be like, Cloud, and you would be like, shut up. But like, that's my point though. Like, granted,
I wouldn't have minded. The guy that does Sephiroth's voice now,
I think it sounds good.
He's from Team Wolf. He also plays Superman in the Supergirl series, the new Superman. So he's not a bad actor at all. Like, I actually enjoy his acting.
Yeah, I've heard him like on Sephiroth. He's done. It sounds good.
To me, once you go back and compare the two, like if you play like if you were to play their lines side by side, it almost sounds like somebody told the new guy to basically do like, hey, why don't you do a really bad impersonation of George Newbern?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've listened to his voice in the new game, and I really think that it sounds good.
I just don't. I've tried to go back and listen to some of the voice, which there are almost none because again, it's the first part of the game. You barely see Sephiroth, so which is good. You don't want to show him too much. I mean, Jesus, he's the final boss. But like the times that I heard him in the cutscenes, I was just like, yeah, but it would, to me, it would have sounded better with George Newbern, because George, he originally hated the character and voicing him. Later on, like as people have interviewed him, he doesn't mind it as much. So he actually, I think, kind of grew to actually like the character because it gave him like another kind of iconic character that he plays, and I think he kind of appreciates it that way and what Sephiroth like means to people. So I think in that way that George actually kind of came around, and he was like, yeah, I don't mind it. Steve Burton, I think for a long time, had always liked Cloud. I think he played Final Fantasy VII when it first came out and stuff, and he just fell in love with it, and because he did soap operas before he voiced Cloud. He was on soap operas.
And I have to say, and look, I'm probably in the minority here. Well, I don't know. It's hard to kind of tell. I have to do some more research and see what people are thinking about it. But even Cloud's voice, I think it sounds. I think for what it is, I think it sounds pretty good. For me,
I have very few complaints about Cloud's new voice actor, because I do think he brings like it's almost like if Steve Burton's Cloud was just a bit younger. That's because he actually does sound a little bit like Steve Burton.
But I just think that it's just nice to just kind of put a new voice on these characters. Because they've been doing those voices for years. And honestly, I did not really like Cloud's original voice. Shut up. What type of dialogue is that? And that's not really his fault versus the dialogue he was given to say.
Yeah,
but I think that
Cloud was a man of few words in Kingdom Hearts 2.
But now, he's, from what I've heard in a lot of the reviews, is that he's now a character, which I'm going to pick it up. I don't know when it's going to happen. I'm probably going to wait for Angry Joe to review it just so I get his opinion on it. Because he doesn't even like Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So I think that his opinion would be really interesting to hear.
He enjoyed the demo, though. He was like, after I think he got through playing the demo, he was like, yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and there's so many things you can look at it with this game, but as of right now, I think if it's a 50 to 60 hour game, right now, I think it's worth it. But the only issue that I have is I don't know how they're going to, do the other episodes. With Final Fantasy 15, they actually charged money for the other other parts of it. Which I did not like, because why do that? But the experiences were cool, though. I actually thought they were really interesting, because you play, I can't remember their names, but there's one DLC where you're playing as a guy with the guns, and he has a snowmobile in his own new open world and doing stuff here and there, which I thought that was kind of cool. You kind of flesh that character out more. But I'm just worried that they're going to sell these extra episodes by for a lot of money, but I feel like fans will fight back if they do that. If the episodes are $5 or something, I could see that. But then again, I would rather them not even sell it for extra money. If anything, I'd be anything. If I'm disappointed in anything, where I would love for them to add the Cloud outfits, like the one from from Kingdom Hearts. The one from the Dark Angel outfit,
Cloudy Wolf from Advent Children. Yeah.
If you want me to be honest, that's actually the first thing I looked up was Cloud outfits, and there's none. There's no outfits for the game. I'm like, oh, come on, that would have been such a cool thing to add. Just
or
be
just
able
have
to
it as have it as a reward for the secret bosses that were in Final Fantasy VII, the armored arachnoids and stuff, or the big red guy that you could fight. I forgot his name, but
did you also know this? Apparently, that the story may actually be able to shift. And they're actually not. Apparently, there's going to be different. From what I've heard, your choices in the game can affect how it ends, and there can be different outcomes. Which my biggest thing. So we can kind of steer away from let's talk about some of the exciting things about it. Do you think Aerith will be able to survive?
If they're gonna do like the choices thing, like in like certain like key moments in the series and stuff like that, and if they let you choose it, I think they may have an option to have her stay alive.
Dude, that would
be a neat
sell like
on-
hotcakes.
Yeah.
Because I remember as a kid, dude. I remember it's just like it was yesterday. I think I was in middle school, high school, early high school. I can't remember. But I would look up videos like top 10 saddest deaths in gaming. And Aerith's like number one.
Yeah, it's always like on the top. It's just like that. Like that would be really neat. I would like to see a like another one where instead of, because there's an area in the game where like you actually fight with Sephiroth. It's supposed to represent Zack's time, when Zack Fair was the actual super soldier that fought with Sephiroth during all the wars and stuff. And what would be really neat is if even during that time, let's just say like there's like a little cutscene thing, I would think what would really sell is if you're able to play as Sephiroth versus Genesis and Angeal, the opening from Crisis Core.
Oh yeah.
That
you can try.
Yeah, you could check. I love this Act 1. Like, yeah, like that would be.
How could I not?
I would actually give the game props if they ever included anything like that. I'd
you.
probably actually immediately buy it just because I would get to actually do the fight. And that
how could I? What does he say? How could I forget after you beat it inside my head?
Yeah, like that's just like
all hail Sephiroth.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like
so cringy.
Like yeah, but it's like looking back at it, like it's just one of those things where you just watch the fight and you're like, God damn, I love Final Fantasy. Like it's just like it's like when you watch Cloud whoop the shit out of Sephiroth with Omni Slash. Like it's just stuff like that Final Fantasy games give you, and I hope that they actually, I think they will do it justice because I think they're working really hard to make it.
In that instance, I would say that paying money for things like that would be justifiable.
Yes.
I would say get past the main story, and like if you want to add like what the movies did and like the extra story bits,
Advent Children,
I think that would be you can milk. And that sounds horrible for me to say, but that's what they did with Final Fantasy 15. They actually put a lot of extra stuff into the game with the Royal Edition, and being able to play online and stuff, which I didn't know how good that was. I never played it. Actually, I never heard any news about that. I never saw any YouTubers playing it, like the online thing at all. So I don't know how good that actually ended up being. But like I think that if they were to add stuff like that, I would pay extra just to be able to experience that.
I don't think it sounds as bad if they make you pay for just that instead of making you pay for the other episodes. So let the other episodes be free, like a free update.
They have to, because it's literally. The more I think about it, it has to be free because it's what they have given us now is a full game, but not the full story. Yeah, I just cannot see them. I feel like they would literally like make the fans like turn against them if they literally started selling each of the episodes based on it's not even a full game.
I would just hope they would have learned their lesson from Kingdom Hearts 3 where they actually did that and saw where people actually got pissed off.
Yeah, they deserve to get pissed.
Like, for it, because I knew I was super pissed. Like I played Kingdom Hearts 3 through once, and
you didn't have it once play it again.
Yeah, I didn't play it until the Remind DLC came out. I did not touch that game until the Remind DLC came out. That's how just pissed off I was, because like, if somebody was a big fan of most of Square Enix's games, I was like, yeah, you guys did the community dirty on it, and they fucking know it, and they didn't issue anything like they weren't like, hey, yeah, sorry, this probably should have been the game before, but we're gonna add it now. But
if you want me to be honest, I think the biggest thing that made Kingdom Hearts 3 weak was Disney itself.
Yeah,
I think that Disney, they want all of their characters to be seen in a good light, and that they don't actually want to take risks in making a darker.
Don't beat up our Disney characters. Why the fuck do we fight? Why the fuck are we beating up Davy Jones?
But
Why?
he's meant to be an evil character. They don't want you. Okay, for instance, like the Frozen world, which,
We
in
beat
my
up
opinion,
Beast.
I was the one who was super excited with the idea of going to Arendelle. And I actually saw this one actual really good. I don't know if it's really a fan fiction, but it was like an idea for it, and it was where Riku actually romanced Elsa. Because they both have
Oh yeah,
I thought that would have been a really cool idea. Because like, think about
yeah.
it, like they're both very similar in character, like in their past. I think I was so excited for that. But
One got like turned to the darkness, the other one is like struggling with it,
and
and
Riku
like
brought her back from the darkness. But what they did was they completely ruined it because Game Theory actually did an episode on it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
saw that.
and it is super obvious that
Yeah.
like it would have been it would have been such a more interesting story because Frozen's the worst world in that game by far. It, it it would have been amazing to actually have a fight with Elsa as a dark entity, and you fight her and get her back from the darkness. But like Disney's like, no, we don't want our characters to be seen in a dark light. Now that's not what they said, but that's what you can tell. That's what happened in the background. It's obvious, and that's why I think holds Disney back is that like people who play Kingdom Hearts are not just kids who, don't get me wrong. It's a
let's
kiddie.
just go down. Let's just go down the actual list here of people that you actually fight in Kingdom Hearts 2. So these are, and the reason why I think Kingdom Hearts 2 actually had better bosses than Kingdom Hearts 3 was that the Kingdom Hearts 3 bosses are almost all specifically heartless in all the Disney worlds. Like first boss, Twilight Town, you fight all the struggle battles. You have to fight Axel, member of Organization 13. You have to fight in Mulan's world, the first one you go to. You fight Shan Yu and Hayabusa, the fucking hawk. Which, by the way, it's a nasty ass name for a hawk. You fight even in Beast Castle, you have to fight Beast.
Yeah, and he's a good character.
In Olympus Coliseum, you fight Cerberus. You fight Dimix, another Organization 13 member. You fight Pete. You fight fucking Pete.
Yeah,
a Disney character. You fight Pete.
Well, and again, I would argue that like he's also like a bad guy in the Disney world. What I'm saying is, if Disney would just stop with the whole we have to protect our good guy characters, it stops them from actually having some deep. Okay, there's nothing wrong with going a little bit dark. Because
that's what Kingdom Hearts 3 was supposed to be. It was supposed to be the darkest, game that was supposed to have come out. I would argue that it really, in hindsight, they probably would have made it. But honestly, the darkest Kingdom Hearts game is Birth by Sleep, because you have characters like actually like dying and actually no Chain of Memories, because the Organization 13 members actually just die. They don't come back.
You see, and I feel like Birth by Sleep did not get enough love because it was initially sold off as a DS game, right? It was a DS.
Yeah, it was on the it was PSP. It was on the PSP.
I had a PSP. I didn't even know about Kingdom Hearts back then.
Yeah, nobody knew about it because but that game in itself, when the HD remasters came out, you had a lot more people playing it. You had a lot more people like loving that game because it's just one of the games that I actually love, where the bad guys win and they win for good reasons. And they have everything planned out. Like, Xehanort literally fucked those three characters. He fucked them. And it shows. Even other boss fights are too. You Barbossa, you fought Oogie Boogie, you fought.
Oh my god, they
Scar.
gave the pirates crossbows. Are you kidding me? I was so mad about that.
You fight the hyenas, whatever the hyenas' names are, you fight Scar. You fight you go into Tron's world and fight the hostile program.
I see what your argument is. You're saying that like all the bosses in the third game were just heartless, not actually like other characters from other. Okay, that makes sense.
And they try to make up for it at the Keyblade Graveyard, where you actually fight human opponents. And it was their attempt to be like, oh, see, we have human opponents you can fight that have knockback and not these cheap ass.
At the end of the game.
And I'm like, yeah, but it's literally the end of the game. You made us go through these Disney worlds, and the worst thing about the story for the Disney worlds was that, in the past, it felt like Sora, Donald, and Goofy were taking a part in, like, actually they had a role to play in the Disney stories. Here it does. In 3, it didn't feel like that. It just felt like the Disney stories were the main key, and that Sora, Donald, and Goofy were just kind of like side characters almost to what was actually going on. Even like the example you gave with Arendelle, you don't even have us fight Elsa. All right, let's say you want to keep Elsa out of it. Fine. Larxene is still there. She's in the world. Have a boss fight with Larxene.
It was lame. It was. So we're getting off topic here, but but it's okay. I enjoy it's what the couch conversation is all about. It's kind of going into details, other stuff, because we're tracing the steps of Square Enix. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And obviously all of that work that could have went into KH3 went into Final Fantasy VII. Which surprises me how they've not been able to expand their studios with that actually surprises me how they're not able to expand their studios where they can actually handle 2 massive platform games. But whatever. I guess when are you going to actually buy Final Fantasy VII? All right, until all episodes are out?
I think it's going to be when all the episodes are out, just so I can actually play it. And I kind of want to do it for the stream, just so I can do it kind of, in order as opposed to just playing through the first episode and then be like, all right, well, see you guys in 2 years when the next episode comes out, which I think is probably when the next episode is going to come out. But because it's not going to come out in a year. I got news for everybody. They're not going to release it that fast. And they want to polish it too, which is good. I'd rather them polish it for 2 years than release it 6 months later and be like, hey, we get this next episode out. I'd be like, oh, fuck, really? But it's going to be about another 2 or 3 years before the next episode comes out.
I don't think it's going to be that long. I really don't think it's going to be that long. There's no way it can be that long. I seriously doubt that.
We waited 5 years for the first episode to come out.
Well, I think most of that is because it could have been, make sure that it was quality, and also could have been because they were already putting work into the other episodes.
And Kingdom Hearts 3, yeah.
I think it's because, again, it's speculation. There's no truth to any of this.
Yeah.
Well, there's only speculation. That's all we can do.
Yeah,
so I think that it's smarter to hold a game off, get more things done, and make more progress on the future of the game than it is to just throw out one episode and that's all you've done. God, that's how you performed on an online class. Everyone would be screwed.
Yeah.
Unless you just know how to BS everything. But that's just that's my thoughts on that. For me, I'm reading this. Since the initial announcement and the ensuing backlash, Square Enix has been surprisingly quiet about Episode 2 or any episodes coming after the initial release. This has left fans in the dark about when they can expect to continue their journey of Final Fantasy VII Remake after having fought all the way through the newly expanded Midgar. With so much news about the Final Fantasy VII slowly being drip-fed as the March 3rd release date approaches, the only information we have is that Episode 2 is in development. So that begs the question of when any more information Episode 2 will be released and how far this next section will take players through the story of Final Fantasy VII. Which part takes place to accommodate for the episode. Yeah, so I was just talking about I want to see one thing. Final Fantasy VII, pay for new episodes. Oh. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh god. I just looked up about paying for each episode, and no one knows the truth of this yet. But each episode is its own full-size game, meaning you're essentially paying $60 for each episode that tells a story over what most likely will be a trilogy.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
That's $180.
More like $210 with tax.
Yeah, for tax. Yeah.
The producer apparently doesn't know how many episodes it will be.
Oh, of course.
Hmm.
Because you have to remember that. Okay, let's say for instance, like if my original timeline is, let's just say my original timeline's correct, and they're going to release the episodes every 2 years. You won't, if let's say if it's 3 episodes. So let's say the first episode's Midgar, second one is, let's just say, like up to Nibelheim, and all the way up there towards the second game is just right after you get like the flashback of Sephiroth in Nibelheim. Then the rest of the third chapter is just kind of the end of the game, and whatever like secret bosses and all that sort of stuff. So if it's 3 games spread over 2 years, it really means that you wouldn't actually get the full story until 2024. But
As of right now, there's no information because apparently, yeah, they are all its own individual games. They're all full-size games. And apparently, Square Enix isn't really doing that well right now, anyway. Which, in my opinion, they're being really stupid. Do you know how many other RPG games they had in the past that were absolutely amazing, but they could just like release them and on the PlayStation Store, and people would buy like hotcakes? They could oh shoot, Xenogear.
yeah,
Xenogear is an RPG that I've wanted to play so freaking bad, but I don't have a PS3. I'm not gonna waste money on a PS3. But like it's like an RPG with like mechs in it, which is so cool. There's that one. They have oh shoot, Dino Crisis. I don't know if you ever heard of what that is. That's kind of like a Resident Evil game, but like with dinosaurs instead. There's another one. God, it mixes like the Resident Evil stuff, but with like a magic system, like with Final Fantasy VII. But like it's like a zombie, like monsters, like horror game. They have so many IPs that they have just like let setting around. And honestly, I think they've focused way too much on Kingdom Hearts through the years, and no wonder they've not done so well. It's because they've literally focused on games like that the entire time. Now, don't get me wrong. There's other games like, I mean, what other games have they released? Let me look that up. Recent Square Enix games. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Kingdom Hearts, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. That was a Square Enix game? I didn't know that.
yeah.
The remake of Final Fantasy 8. Onusaki, no one played that. Onunaki, no one played that, yeah. The Final Fantasy Online game. Collection of Mana. Left Alive, that was a horrible game. Dragon Quest Builders, that was actually a pretty fun game. I liked it, but it got boring for me. Some other people may have liked it, but it got boring for me. Life is Strange, Octopath Traveler. That game should have been on all consoles, not just a freaking Switch. I was in PC. I was so mad about that. All these are just a bunch of... There's Dragon Quest. Apparently that game was amazing. The 11th game. The 11th one. Nier Automata. Good old Swanahiriki was on that one. Final Fantasy 15. I mean, most of their stuff is just Final Fantasy and like some low tier.
They did Star Ocean. They did like 2 games for Star Ocean.
Yeah, Star Ocean is not that great of a series. I'm just gonna say it.
It's all the Dragon Quest stuff.
Just Cause
3, yeah.
Honestly, Just Cause 2 was like the best on the Xbox 360, but I tried playing the new ones and I did not like it.
They did Dissidia, which I actually do like. I actually do like Dissidia. We've had some fun playing on the stream.
But look at this. Just look at them. A lot of them are just a bunch of like low tier RPGs that no one cares about.
Yeah. I tried to know why they did it, because they were banking everything on.
Oh, and we have a special guest coming in. It's a very, very special guest. Give him a second. But yeah, honestly, I think Square Enix is kind of they've made their bed, and just like EA, they've made some very greedy decisions, and I think that they're in this hole because of them. Honestly, if any game should have come out, I think they should have said screw Kingdom Hearts 3 and just focused on Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think,
hey,
yeah.
I know we announced it and pointed, but we have another project in the works that we think you guys like that, but we're going to work hard to make sure that Kingdom Hearts 3 is like the best it can be at the time, and like hope you enjoy. That would have sold me over for the next 5 years.
So let's look at the sales. Let's look at the sales. According to Capcom, for Final Fantasy VII Remake, the game has sold 2 million copies of it in its first 5 days. Digital sales made up of almost 50% of that because we're in a freaking pandemic across the world.
Yeah.
And we're also joined by PT Monster. What is going on, PT? Is that Doom?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's your boy.
Jeez, what an intro. So Final Fantasy VII Remake made that much money so far. Let's see how much Kingdom Hearts 3 made. Kingdom Hearts 3 sales. It's shipped 5 million copies worldwide. That's not good.
No.
If Final Fantasy VII, no. If Final Fantasy VII Remake made 2 million in 5 days, and Kingdom Hearts 3 only sold 5 million worldwide,
yeah,
that's bad. That's not good. I mean, granted, yeah. I mean, there's money. There's obviously money in that. But let's look at The Witcher 3. Let's look at The Witcher 3 sales. Witcher 3 sales. Wow. In March 2016, nearly 10 million copies. By the end of 2017, 33 million. By June 2019, 40 million. And that also went up again here recently. Because February 14, 2020, there's an article that says sales were up 554% thanks to Netflix TV show. 554%. So, with The Witcher 3 outsold freaking... That's so bad.
Yeah.
Oh. And CD Projekt Red is a smaller company than freaking Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Than Square, yeah. So that's bad. That's really bad. Oh god. Okay, here's my next question. How much did Fallout 4 sell? Fallout 4 sales. 14.91 million units in 2019. Dang. Wow. Yeah, in 2015 it was about 12 million copies.
What were the Battlefront 2 sales?
Battlefront...
I would like to know that as well.
Battlefront 2 sales. EA, this is in October 30th of 2019, so this is pretty recent. 33 million copies worldwide.
Damn.
That's better.
God.
Oh, God. And they say, yeah, Battlefront 2 sales missed target. EA blames Loot Crate controversy. Well, no, shit, dirt, Sherlock.
Yeah,
Of course it was that.
Well, and they also sold more when they made all the updates and stuff here recently, which the game's actually a good game now, because we did lots of videos on that. I have very fond memories, a lot of angry memories, but fond memories. I remember Aries was streaming and he was like, "I'm literally seeing the salt in the air right now."
There was salt on the floor, salt on the ground, there was salt on the ceiling, there was salt everywhere.
The vacuum cleaner took about like 3 run-throughs to get all the salt up. So I guess what we're looking at here is, numbers speak. You can't fake numbers. Any one person saying, yeah, the game's great, does not compete with 33 million copies, or the CD Projekt Red millions upon millions of copies sold. Even when the game came out in 2015. 2015 is when the game came out. 2015. Yeah. Or was it 2014? One of the two. I think it was 20... I can't remember. Was it 2015? Yeah, it was 2015.
Battlefront 2? I thought it was 2016.
No, Witcher. Toss a coin to your Witcher. Alright, but... Let's... Okay, but we're not being fair here. Let's look at Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal sale. That's been out for a few days. It's saying it doubled the sales of the first game, but it's not telling me how much.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's not telling me how much though. Let me see. It sets new launch sales. It's over 100,000 concurrent players, which that's kind of, I mean, that's good, I guess. It's kind of small though. Some people play the game one time. I mean, I think you always have more people playing that first day than, a few days later. That makes sense. Some people turn the game back in, but they can't do it now because pandemic. Oh, freaking Pandemic Studios, rip. Where are you at when we need you the most?
Yeah.
Yeah, but jeez, okay. So I think we're done talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. We can talk about other things, but basically, my opinion is, I think as of right now, without any information about the future, is it a game that's worth the money? As of right now, yes. Is that going to stand when the new if these new episodic game, the next episodes come out? Will that stand? My answer, probably not, because if they charge more money, as like they charge another full game price for it, that's wrong. That's super wrong, and I'm not happy about it. If they did a season pass, that would be understandable. That would be more understandable than charging a freaking full price. But even then, that's still a stretch. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. God, that's difficult. That's hard. That honestly, I understand now why fans are upset, and they have every right to be upset. I mean, graphics don't make a game, but the game looks amazing, and apparently every aspect of the game is amazing. The only thing that's lacking is the future of it, and it's not a full game completely out just yet. And again, I think the one company is standing the test of time is CD Projekt Red, because they are releasing a game that's going to be a full game, and they're already working on the DLCs. Did you know that?
For which one?
Cyberpunk.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're working on the DLCs right now. There's going to be at least as much as Witcher 3 had. And they had like 2 expansions. But they also had other DLC stuff like outfits and armor and other story bits. Like the contracts of the monsters. So yeah. Oh God. That's sad. It almost makes you wish that CD Projekt Red had control of Final Fantasy.
It almost makes you just think the CD Projekt Red should just have fucking control of everything, because like it just.
But that's my.
It just seems like everything they do, they just do it fucking.
And my issue with that statement is that we said the same thing about Bethesda.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Then they became the bane of existence. I mean, the new Wastelander DLC just came out, and apparently Joe's going to look at it. And and they're charging full price for that game again. Stop it!
Oh, no.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Let's talk about no.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that real quick. What type of asinine cock building bullshit is that? What?
PT, look it up on the PSN store right now. Tell them.
What on the PSN store?
Just go on the PlayStation
76.
store. Fallout 76.
Okay, looking it up right now.
Because I think the Wastelander edition is like it's an addition to the game that you have to pay for. But there's an edition of the Fallout 76 that has everything in it. Which by everything I mean it's a full game. That's what it should have been. That is wrong. Especially after they did the
They're
whole
already-
100. Say what?
And they're gonna
I was looking it up. Keep going.
and they're already gonna charge you $100.
I know!
Membership.
Oh my
The
god.
game's
Do you
already fucking
understand
sucks.
the one thing that I wanted in the Creation Club was the NCR Ranger armor in Fallout 4? And guess what? They literally held that over. They literally held it by the balls and said, hey, I know you like this armor, so here's what we're going to do. Wait, having the NCR armor in the game doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense.
Because they already fucked up the lore.
It's
with
not.
some of
Think about
too.
it. If you know the timeline, Fallout 76 happens before everything in Fallout. Everything. Are you kidding
The
me?
Wastelanders Deluxe Edition is $60.
Yeah.
And
What's the
you're
base
saying that's
game?
not the base game? It's
Yeah,
like
what's the-
30 something? Let me look real quick. I just passed it.
Is
It's-
the
it's
Wastelanders edition? Is the Wastelander edition itself? Not the edition, but is there like a DLC that you can get just for Fallout 76, like for the Wastelander DLC, or is it free? But then why again would they charge a deluxe edition if it's free?
Because they want money. Like they literally these absolute rhinoceros cocksuckers. I mean they have literally
You ain't
absolutely
lying.
like,
They probably
they
eat jerky while
literally-
reading the Bible.
Yeah, they literally. These spaghetti eating fucks. They literally don't know what they're doing anymore. They just don't. They like it's almost like it's just imagine you've got a glass of water and you're walking up the staircase with it, and then somebody just comes right behind you and then just smacks you upside the head with a phone book, and you're falling, and the water's fucking getting everywhere. That's what it probably feels like, getting conned into the $60 or even worse than that purchase of that
No,
game.
I think a better example is you have a glass of water, you're really thirsty, they kick you in the balls, and they take the water from you before it spills, and they drink it themselves, and they're like, oh, here you go, you can have the glass back, and then you get up and you actually drop the glass and it breaks. That's
Throw
what
the
it's
glass
like.
at you, got glass shards in your eye. And fuck!
That is absolutely shocking. I saw that the other day. I'm like, that can't be real.
It's just still the fact that they released the game with criminal intent. Like they actually had the audacity.
The color
knowing
blue.
how-
The color blue. You're charging me for the color blue.
Where's this Evolve? Yeah, like it was just like I still remember Evolve too. I thought Evolve, the concept of Evolve was really good, but like just the execution and the DLC stuff for it, all that sort of stuff was just so much bullshit.
Oh my god! Oh god! I wasn't moving at all. I'm in offline mode now. No.
No, fuck.
Here, I'll join back. Give me a second. But
But,
yeah,
like, it's just like one of those things where they released the game and they knew it was shit. Even Todd Howard admitted, he had an interview where he admitted it was shit, and he still was like, yeah. So,
no. You cannot say. He did not say the game was shit. He literally said that, like, hey, it could have. It didn't come out the way we wanted it to. But there's still thousands of players playing right now, and he was still chalking it up.
We know it's shit. But...
Yeah, what he said was not an apology. That was a disgrace. Could you not?
They had the audacity of like making it to where they were trying to get people to apologize to them for calling them liars and stuff, which they were. They lied to the public. There's just like straight up like fantasies about the game that they were selling, and like even like the perk system, what you were supposed to be able to do in the game, like the actual the infamous 16 times the detail shit that we always make fun of.
16 times the bullshit.
Yeah, 16 times the malarkey. It was just like
16 times the cancer.
Yeah, like it's just. And then, not even that, where they were like, "Oh yeah, you'll be able to do these quests and partake in their stories and stuff." And they already told us, if you go back and watch the interview, they're like, "Yeah, it's holotapes. It's all of it's holotapes." There's not one NPC in here. It's all holotapes. Don't worry about it. And now they're like, ooh, our new DLC introduces NPCs. Oh well, fucking whoop,
dude.
goddamn dude.
I can't remember who it was that said like, yeah, oh my god, it looks so good. I'm like, are you stupid? What a concept! What a concept! NPCs in the game. What were they thinking? What were they thinking to like at E3 to be like, oh my god, guys, we have NPCs now? That was the stupidest thing I ever saw of that release.
I was just waiting on somebody from the crowd to go fuck off. Like I was waiting for somebody. To
that one guy who was just cheering the entire time. Oh. He never shut up the entire E3. That was so annoying.
I mean, I wouldn't assume that guy was paid off, but he just acted like he was. That's why he kind of got infamous for doing it. But you could see, just like, I know, like a lot of the gaming community, I think when a lot of the DLC practices and a lot of these incomplete, unfinished games are coming out, like the gaming community, you know, we gave these companies a chance. It's not like we didn't. Like, we gave these companies plenty of fucking chances. We gave them so many chances. Like the Bible verse "turn the other cheek" is going to be rewritten to go, hey, you might want to watch your fucking cheek there. Like it's, you know,
yeah,
like,
God comes down and says, guys, I'm so sorry about that. Look, I need to make an edit.
Make amends to this verse. Fuck, but it's just like even like looking back at it with like Destiny, with Fallout. Even with some people that had problems with Fallout 4, or, you know, with Skyrim.
I am so tired of people saying that, like, hey, go get Destiny now because it's worth it now. No! If it wasn't worth it at the beginning, why would I pay money now? And honestly, I eat my words there because we did play Battlefront 2 a good bit, but honestly, as much as fun as we did have with that game, I still do not... I would say it's complete now. If they released the game as it is now, on day one, it would have been a good game.
Yeah,
it would have been perfectly fine.
Would have probably gotten like 7 and 8s at least.
I mean, maybe they took out Anakin Skywalker's nuke button, his kill switch button,
kill everything in a.
I mean, PT. I mean, you were there. I mean, good God Almighty, you would just be just. You know, just holding down the fort, and then Anakin Skywalker comes up and says, hey guys, I know you're here, I know you basically have taken this command post, but let me just press these two L1 and R1 real fast. Yeah. And everyone dies.
Button. It was just that quick.
Yes.
It was. It's almost like the spin to win philosophy that people had for like other games where it was just really cheap, where you just had a character to spin to win.
But Count Dooku's better. Oh yeah, you mean with his 2-inch long lightning attack?
Pajamas. Pajama man. Is literally the elder statesman in Sith pajamas running around just going zee.
It's honestly horrible. I looked at there's a video that I'll have to share with you too that goes back through everything that EA did.
Yeah.
Through every company, Visceral Studios, Pandemic, all the canceled Star Wars games, all the Project Viking, there's so many that like I didn't even remember that were actually like projects for Star Wars games. And like even Jedi Fallen Order, I would even say that's still a lackluster experience. You want to know why it's lackluster? People say it's an amazing experience. You want to know why it's an amazing experience? They think it is because they literally have no other game to to draw comparisons to, because there's not been any single player Star Wars games in years.
Yeah, that's literally because it was literally like, all right, well, we actually got a coherent story, and it was a single player story.
Do you know why they released Battlefront 1 the way it was? Do you know the reason? Because there's actually a reason why. Because they wanted to release them when Force Awakens is about to come out. That's it. They released the game in that piss poor condition just because they wanted it to release around the release of the Force Awakens. Let that sit in. Let that sit in. Remember how horrible it was?
Few bucks. Yeah, I remember talking to
Dylan.
No, there's another guy that was like, man, I was just like, man, the graphics are so good. I'm like, yeah, you know what else is good? All my fucking money is gone. It's all gone.
You know what's
This
even
game
better? A
fucking
fully
stole it.
complete game. A fully complete game.
Yeah.
I was the first one to see the trailer and like, oh my god, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
Then I played the.
We were-
I remember we were still in ATO at the time, and we were doing Mafia Week, and we were all playing Battlefront Beta, and then everyone was just talking about how good it was. Like, I think it's a really good game. I don't know why people keep crapping on. I'm like, you damn fool.
Yeah. When
I know
played
exactly
the
who it
beta,
was too. I'm not gonna say his name, but he was such an idiot. Oh.
I played the beta of it, and I thought, oh Jesus! I thought, so it's gonna come out in like 2 weeks. Is this? No, this can't be it. So I ended up buying it, and it was it.
Wait, you paid full price?
I paid full price for that goddamn
Oh, that's
That
sad. I got
asinine.
Battlefront 2 for $3.
piece. Yeah, I think we all got it for like I got it for like $9.
I actually got the game for free because it came with the PlayStation package, I think, at the time.
Oh, nice, nice.
So I pretty much got it free, but still, like, the way it came out, it was not worth it. I picked it up a little bit and then put it right back down.
I
Up
just
until all
remember.
the updates came in. That was the only time I really played the game, and that was, of course, with y'all.
Yeah. I remember paying full price for it, playing it for 2 days, and returning it to GameStop for $40. I was
That's
just,
how you know how bad it was.
I was just thinking because I rarely do that with games. Like even games that I really don't like, I'll at least like still play it for like a couple of days and like see how it is. Maybe sometimes even a week. I'll be like, yeah, I just want to see if there's like other stuff that I'm missing. And I've only done it, I think, with a couple of games. I did it with Destiny. I did it with Battlefront, the first Battlefront, and then I did it with. I want to say. I can't remember what the other one was, but I've only done it with 3 games my entire gaming career, and I was just like, "Gosh, damn, this is upsetting." And I was just like, "It's $20. I can't get back. It's $20."
There's a great video. The guy, I think he was the producer of the Rogue One movie. He was on a talk show, a YouTube channel. I can't remember what it's called, but he literally said, if there's a clause in the contract Disney has with EA to get out of it, they need to do it because it is utterly horrible what EA has done to squander the Star Wars license with the video games that have come out. And the years they've had it, they've only had 3 games now that have come out. Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, Jedi Fallen Order. That is horrible. Yeah. That is a tragedy. Because apparently there's rumors that they're doing a remake of the Knights of the Republic. That can go either way.
Be nice.
I know it'd be nice
if
we can get a good game. That's my only thing. Because I do not trust EA to make good games anymore. Because after Jedi Fallen Order, don't get me wrong, was it a good game? Yes, it was good, but the biggest thing was they played it way too safe. It was way too short of an experience, very linear. Was it cool what they did? Yeah, again, it was cool what they did, but there's so many other projects that were so cool. Like playing as Boba Fett in Star Wars 1313. What happened to that game?
I think that was during the whole transition over to Disney. I believe
that was actually the last project that LucasArts was working on before he sold rights. And George Lucas regrets it.
Yeah.
And it was also, there was a Darth Maul game that was going to be very similar to, what was it?
There's a gameplay
game.
footage of that. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
What was the game that it was like? I can't even remember its name.
Like Force Unleashed?
Yes, it was going to be Force Unleashed-esque, but it was going to be Darth Maul and what he did after
fucking nasty.
Clone Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in a
really
it was a very early stage. The combat is you fighting Mandalorians, and I do think it would have been an amazing game because playing as Darth Maul would have been awesome. Is playing as a dark side character and staying dark the entire time would have been good because EA apparently likes the power of friendship and the power of even though you killed thousands of my rebellion friends, thank you. You're gonna be my bodyguard now, and I'm like the high commander of the rebellion. How does that make sense? Whatever. You can't even say Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all they deserve. They don't deserve having the EA set out loud. So the future of Star Wars, it remains to be seen. But I've been sharing a lot of videos with you guys of this new YouTube channel that I've been following, and they are retconning we're way past Final Fantasy VII stuff, so if anyone still is watching, thank you guys for tuning in. We're just going to keep talking because I'm enjoying this. We can turn off the stream if we need to, but I'm enjoying this. So they're retconning a lot of the stuff. The High Republic has been completely changed. That is what everyone's been worried about. There's actually going to be a new war that's going to take place. That like no one really knows what it's about just yet. But they are retconning the Luke Skywalker. They are adding Ben Solo. No, the original Ben Solo from the books. Or is it Ben Skywalker?
That's Ben Skywalker.
They're adding Ben Skywalker into the lore.
Nice. So they're actually bringing in a real Skywalker, which he technically was, but not under the Skywalker.
They're doing animated series. They're doing new movies, a new trilogy. Like Kathleen Kennedy is gone. She is gone. Her and Ryan Johnson, all the people at Disney have absolutely. My dad actually said something really interesting the other day. He said, son, there's not really a lot of Star Wars fans that are really, still dedicated to it. I'm like, I understand where you get that, but the truth of the matter is, it's because of the poor effort that Disney and the Kathleen Kennedy, Ryan Johnson, and EA have done to the license. It is horrible. It is rape, honestly.
Let's just call it what it is. It's fucking awful.
It's just awful.
I don't think it would have been as bad if 7, 8, and 9 actually had the courage of its convictions to follow through with certain story elements that they were probably wanting to do or originally wanting to do. But it just got way too fucking corny. It was you could see the punchlines for the jokes coming a mile away. Because Star Wars, I mean, you got some good shit in there, just for I think 4, 5, and 6 had it, hell. But there was just the story element to it, certain characters' endings in Episode 9 I wasn't a big fan of.
I mean, they took out almost every single Hayden Christensen. Hayden Christensen has not been in any movies in a long time. And he apparently is outraged by Rise of Skywalker, which a lot of people should be. Because they took out a lot of his scenes and they ruined a lot of the lore, in my opinion. I know there's actually a review, and me and PT have actually discussed that multiple times. In my opinion, I feel like they really tarnished a lot of things in that. They ruined the Palpatine character. Everything they did was just horrible.
They ruined Luke.
They ruined Luke. I don't care what anybody says. Everyone's like, well, every Jedi, like Obi-Wan and Yoda, they went into seclusion. I'm like, no. Luke Skywalker would not have done that. And he would not have tried to kill...
This man turned the most, arguably, probably the most powerful Jedi/Sith, whatever you want to think of Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker or whatever you want to classify him as. Literally... dragged him from the bowels of hell.
They literally ruined one of the best characters in Star Wars. The one that literally made Star Wars.
The chosen one.
Luke Skywalker was the first hero. I mean, everyone loved Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and all of them. They were such great characters. And you know what they couldn't fucking do? They couldn't provide one reunion moment in the new series with Han Solo, Leia, and Luke. What a joke. And now Carrie Fisher, she's dead. She's gone. And that'll never happen. That is so depressing. It's not even funny.
I know that probably actually eats Mark Hamill inside. I can just tell when he talks about that kind of stuff that it actually irks him to even probably go into too much detail about it.
He was in tears on set when
he warned us too. He went on multiple interviews and these Comic-Cons and stuff.
Oh, he said if the movie succeeds, it's Ryan Johnson. If the movie fails, it's Ryan Johnson.
It's
pretty
like,
That's
like,
literally what he said, and like it's. Think about he was there at the beginning.
yeah. Him,
He was
George
there.
Lucas,
If anyone
Harrison
had the
Ford,
right mindset or the right attitude towards Star Wars, it was Mark Hamill.
I wonder how Ian McDermott feels about what they did to Palpatine.
I don't
That's an
know.
interesting point. I would
That's
like
a
to know
great
that,
point,
too.
honestly. That's actually I've
Because
never thought about
he's-
that.
He's been like relatively kind of quiet throughout the.
Well, some people don't
really
like-
even the remaking.
Some people don't like to stir the
process.
pot.
Yeah, and I get that, but I would actually be really interested to hear what he would have to say. Like,
Oh my God, Hunter just made a great point. He just commented. He says, "Quote: Your family line doesn't make you important." End quote. They say before making her a Skywalker at the end of the movie.
Oh damn. Yeah.
Wow. Well put. Yeah, he's right.
Because like, I know like, I know they're doing all the retconning and stuff, and I know we talked about this last time. I don't.
Okay, I know
want
what you said about you do not want them to have
another
Skywalkers, but the reason why I feel like
Skywalker.
the reason why I feel like you're there is because they did such a horrible job with
Oh,
the
no.
Skywalkers here recently.
No, I'm just tired of it. I know it sounds
don't.
I know it sounds crazy, and I know that people like the Skywalker like lineage because it's actually very interesting about like where Skywalkers come from, what how like strong they are, and what their connection to the Force is, and like how like each iteration of like Skywalkers over time has like doing like certain things, but I feel like there's just so much more to the Star Wars universe.
Okay, well I agree with you.
Get the fuck away from the Skywalker lineage, and can we please do something else? Because
Can I
there's
say
gonna
one
be a
thing?
point-
Can I have one
we're
point?
We're going to be on episode 15, and we're still going to have fucking Skywalkers.
Okay, here's my point. Here's my point that like, can you at least concede this? I want them to fix the Skywalkers and then move on. I
just
want
wonder if they're
them
actually
to
gonna take the
fix
time
it.
to do that.
Yeah,
That's what they said they're doing. They're fixing
Yeah,
Luke Skywalker.
I mean,
They're actually going to go into how he died and why he actually died. They're going to add the new character of the Ben Skywalker. I think they're going to change his name because it's already a Ben Solo or whatever.
Yeah.
I
only
think
problem
that
with that, though,
they need to do what is right and fix what they did to Mark Hamill. They need to fix the Skywalker lineage first. Or I'm okay if they don't do it right now, but I want them at least to focus on, again, I'm with you on you need to, divulge into other parts of Star Wars. Like, the Mandalorian was good. The Kathleen Kennedy was the one who said they need to hold off on the Obi-Wan series. This is also the same lady who said she wanted to do
Fucker,
Star
yeah.
Wars Dino Thunder.
This is stupid.
Dumb bitch.
Power
But
Rangers, God! Could you imagine that? Everybody's on fucking speeder bikes. with the
Jedi
dino thing.
Rangers. But she literally said she did not want any war. She wanted a time of peace, and she wanted a Jedi to ride
What?
dinosaurs. She wanted
wants-
Jedi to ride dinosaurs. Let that sink in.
So, okay,
wants-
where
she
did
wants
you hear all
peace.
this from?
There's a
In Star
YouTuber that
Wars.
goes through all the Star Wars news and stuff. What's his name? I can probably find on my YouTube feed.
She wants peace in Star Wars. It's literally called Star Wars.
Let's see.
I brought peace, freedom,
Yeah.
justice to my new
Yeah.
Disney Star Wars.
Brand new Disney Star Wars.
His name is Mike Zeroh, Mike space Zeroh. Mike Zeroh. I actually love his videos. If you ever get to see one of my videos, I would really appreciate that. He's awesome. He has 207,000 subscribers, and he basically goes into all the news with the new Star Wars stuff. But like all this stuff has been happening here recently, so like he's very on top of it. He posts a lot of videos. He posts like 3 videos in one day of all the new stuff. So this guy's on his stuff, and I really recommend that you guys check him out.
I usually check out Star Wars Theory just because that was the first one I really got into.
See, same.
Yeah,
I like them.
But, so I kind of kept up with him, and I hadn't heard really anything from him in a while. But it's probably because I I got tired of hearing all of the theory
he's
part
probably,
of it.
He's probably just like, fuck.
He's probably. I mean, I used to.
He probably went fuck.
I used to follow Star Wars HQ, then I got tired of their freaking voices.
Yeah, I did too.
Hey guys, like they talk like I can't. And I'm trying to be mean, but like they just, and all they would talk about is like trying to hype up Star Wars. I'm like, guys, stop it, stop hyping up Battlefront.
Yeah,
and then there's actually one episode they're like, guys, I'm so freaking tired of like trying to be positive with this game when they keep disappointing the fans. Like, where are the Jordicas at? Where are the Jordicas? I'm like, that's a good point.
The thing about it, I would like for them to like fix the Skywalker stuff. I feel like the only issue with that is that, okay, now you have to decide whether 7, 8, and 9 is canon.
$10.
True.
Dude, no. Freaking Daisy Ridley, the guy who played Finn, all those actors, they did not like what Kathleen Kennedy did. And if they were to change it, even the guy who played Finn, he was like, do not freaking Disney me. Do not put me in any series. Like, yeah, he doesn't want any of that crap. He says he wants to kind of be done. It's because the reason why, yeah, John Boyega, thanks, Hunter.
Yeah.
I look, I think that, and everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I feel like the bad taste in everyone's mouth from Star Wars is because of dumb bitches like Kathleen Kennedy. And I think that if they set things right and do what Mark Hamill was wanting, and honestly, I think if you make Mark Hamill happy, you make a lot of Star Wars people happy.
Yeah,
the Star Wars. Apparently John Boyega, Hunter's commenting in the chat. Apparently he thrashed them on Twitter, John Boyega, which they deserve it.
Good.
They deserve it because, yeah, I mean, it's terrible. Like, no one was like, just like how the whole movie. I think the First Order looks cool, but I think they're inherently stupid. They're just an Empire knockoff, and like I think anyone can agree that the Clone Wars era is the best era of Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like I think the Clone Wars,
Old Republic. I'd say Old Republic. Republic.
KOTOR and the Clone Wars are definitely probably more interesting. I think that especially what they did the Mandalorian is still really good because again, it's a new story that
they added lore to the Mandalorians
lore
that we've been wanting.
Yeah,
the Mandalorians are the coolest. Now I want Mandalorian Wars.
We have fucking 2 canon Mandalorians. We have 2.
Well, Boba Fett's not technically a Mandalorian.
The fuck is he then?
He's not a Mandalorian because okay. There's a whole video on it. I gotta remember all the details with it. But like to be a true Mandalorian, you can't take your helmet off. I don't think Boba Fett ever took his helmet off, but like he never really went through like the training it took to become a Mandalorian. I can't remember what it was. There's so many details on it.
Mandalorian then?
Well,
I don't
technically, the whole Mandalorian thing.
Django wasn't Mandalorian.
Well, they kind of died out. They kind of died out by the time
they were mercenaries. That's really about it.
But they had kind of died out as far as the true Mandalorian way by the time you get to the Clone Wars, because Death Watch was the most Mandalorian, but they were trying to get away from that with Satine. So they really the only ones that are left of the actual Mandalorians was Death Watch. So they're probably about to get wiped out because of the whole Siege of Mandalore that's about to happen with the Clone Wars.
If you look at like what they said about to be a true Mandalorian, about like, you know, you can't take your helmet off. Jango Fett took his helmet off multiple times. He showed his face. You're not supposed to, apparently, but that's a lore that wasn't established first, I don't think. I don't know. I never really knew much about the Mandalorian lore like that. My Mandalorian lore came from the Old Republic games. Which I think, again, the Mandalorian Wars is probably one of the coolest times in Star Wars history. Literally, you had the Spartans of freaking Star Wars fighting Jedi. How cool is that? I mean, I just...
Well, like, that's some stuff that I would like to see. I think we might have already... I don't know if we talked about this in the other video, but I just want a actual, like, Sith Star Wars. I want
Exar Kun.
Yes, I agree.
I want a actual Sith, not this candy cutter bullshit that they did with.
Hey, Iden Versio is a very great character. It's very, has multiple layers of bullshit.
I guess so.
Through her DNA.
But I mean, like, it's just like it's just one of those things where I feel like that, like, yeah, like the Sith are supposed to be like the like the guys, like the final boss, pretty much of like each Star Wars movie.
You know what I want? I want them to humanize the Sith, not demonize them.
But if you even in video games,
does that make sense?
Some of the greatest video games are where you play as the boss, where you are the boss. And like one of my favorite games back in the old year, Prototype, where you literally are a fucking boss. You're a video
game. That's a good game too.
Yeah, but you know what I meant by what I said earlier. Like, I want them to humanize the Sith. Because, like, not all Sith... Okay, if you think about it, like, the Jedi are basically monks in the way they live. Yeah. You can't do anything, can't have feelings or emotions, yada, yada, yada. Can't even, like, be in love with somebody. I mean, you can't... Something like they can't have attachments.
Sith are just the complete opposite. They're full of emotion.
If anything, I would want to see, like, a gray Jedi or, like, a humanized Sith that, like, makes sense of, like... They see the hypocrisy of the Jedi, and they're wanting to fight it. And stay true to the Sith way.
I feel like they could really pull that off if they make it almost like a philosophical movie instead of like even just like a straight up like action Star Wars movie.
Crap! I just forgot something. The High Republic's supposed to be the new Star Wars trilogy is supposed to be the darkest Star Wars ever is going to be.
Oh, sweet!
They are going dark from what George Lucas and the new CEO said.
We need more movies like like Rogue One. That was arguably, I think, one of my favorite Star Wars movies.
I think it's one of the best ones for sure. Yeah,
because it did go really dark as compared to what you know of the Rebels in Episode 4.
They were just a bunch of criminals.
Just watch the last 5 minutes of it.
They're a bunch of ragtag criminals, and then like, the Rebels were not good people. They were like they did horrible things too. Yeah. But like they're such great
they're
characters.
Basically terrorists.
They are.
They're terrorists. Technically, if you want to get really technical with it, the Empire are actually the ones that are trying to keep peace and stability, and the Rebels are trying to fuck it all up.
Right.
Because they want, you guys want freedom. Well, what the fuck is freedom? What does that actually consist of in a galaxy far, far away, where people literally have laser swords, the ability to pull star destroyers from the sky, and the ability to have a space station that blows up planets. What is freedom and justice? And I feel like in one of these
so philosophical here.
Freedom is whatever Mel Gibson says it is. Freedom.
But I feel like one of those movies with like the Gray Jedi or the Sith, like you were talking about, those are the movies I want, because I want them to actually, because most of the time when you actually look at the Jedi's philosophies and stuff, you kind of get it like here and there in the story of Star Wars, but there's never actually been a Star Wars movie that has actually gone into depth with a character about their philosophy of the Force, how they find it, and throw the action
Old
things in there because it's Star Wars.
Old Republic. It's all there.
Throw the action in there, like just for shits and giggles, because it's fucking Star Wars.
PT, don't you agree? Old Republic.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
If you want to go into the Force and how the Jedi work, how the Sith work, Old Republic.
You would need to play Knights of the Old Republic for sure to really know everything, or everything that's non-canon.
Mm-hmm. But I just feel like that's what's missing for a lot of people that want to like fully understand Star Wars. Because I have friends of mine from college that watch Star Wars, and they're like, "Yeah, but why is so and so doing this?" And you're like, "Well, I
don't know. That's a good question.
Why is Trace alive?"
Yeah. I was like, I could explain,
why is Trace alive?
I could explain that to you, but it's literally going to take me hours upon hours to explain this shit to you, and I don't have time for that. So let's just watch the fucking movie. Whereas we could actually have a Star Wars movie that goes, okay, so this is what the two opposing ideologies are, and this is what they actually have. You take your pick on which one actually sounds good to you. Like, leave it open-ended. Some of the best movies that actually have, like, do those questions, those big, like, questions about, are the Jedi good, or are the Sith good, or are the Sith misunderstood, or are the Jedi kind of, more corrupt than they let on?
With all honesty, Fall of 4 did that with the Brotherhood of Steel. Because Brotherhood of Steel was like the best, we loved them in Fallout 3 and New Vegas. They were there, but they weren't as much of a big, entity. But like Fallout 4 is like, hey, Brotherhood of Steel, yay, they're here. Oh my God, they are synth racist.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's like, then you have to figure out whether you think synths are real people or not, and that's a whole different ballpark of actual philosophical discussion. Like you have it with the guys who created the Matrix. Like, do you think like the people thinking that they, do you think you're actually inside of a matrix being controlled, like the brain in the vat experiment, which is done way before
and now
that.
people say that that's the way we are in society today too. So that that's pretty.
But
it's
just like
far fetched. But
it just opens up like a bunch of questions, though. Which
yes, and that's what I like as well. I
want you to question. You should want to question the norm. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Jedi are good. Well, why are they good?
Yeah.
Like, why are they?
They take children out of their home away from their families, like at a year old.
Yeah, they're
Does that mean they're good?
Abductors. Yeah,
exactly. So are they pedophiles? Are they the Catholic Church of that day?
And they cast them out. They don't do well.
They're intergalactic children stealers. Where it's like the Sith.
Exactly.
No, Zerka Corporation? No, they're terrible people, man. They enslave people. Yeah, well, they enslave kids. Yeah. Then they make them go fight in wars. They fight robots and they get killed.
Like, I don't even think really like the Sith didn't even do that as much as the Jedi. I think they still did it, like in some instances. I think they did it with like Asajj Ventress and like stuff like that.
Yeah, they kind of did it with Darth Maul too. Kind of. Where they took him away pretty early.
Where do you find like a lot of the Sith come from? The Jedi. They fell from the Jedi.
Yeah,
that's where like in the Old Republic, most of the Jedi that were Sith, most of the Jedi, they turned to the dark side after following Revan. And dude, that's another good reason why they should do Old Republic, because you can look at Revan and Malak at the beginning, and then look at them as like as the movies go on, and see how much they changed and like why they believe what they believe. And there's a reason why they were doing it in the background, because the Emperor that was in the deep space or whatever, they came across him and they got turned to the dark side and stuff.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that whole.
Yeah,
that's what comes in with the MMORPG.
Yes.
That's what all that is about.
The Old Republic.
But then they ruined Revan. They killed off the Galen Metric girl.
Mila
Surik. Sorry, I can't remember her names. But yeah,
Matra Surik.
They kill her. Revan kills her.
Oh,
did you know that?
Didn't know that.
Revan literally kills her because the Emperor made him do it. What a terrible way to end a character. What a terrible way. Anywho, so wow, this video's gone about an hour and 40 minutes. Jesus Christ, that's fun. I love it.
Like, it's just I just needed to do that story. I don't need the fucking Skywalker movie, but if they make one and that they want to like actually
right the wrongs,
I would be fine with that, but that needs to be the goddamn end of it.
You see, that's where I'm with you on. With all honesty, I am so tired of after Clone Wars stuff. I'm tired of the Empire. I'm tired of seeing Stormtroopers. I'm tired of seeing Scout Troopers. Give me more clones or give me Old Republic. I'm so tired of Empire. It's not even funny. Playing Battlefront, I rather play.
It's very bland. It's very bland in that time period.
It is.
When you're getting to the Empire and the Republic. It's just the same old thing.
You go from clones looking broken as hell, super cool, the ARC Troopers, all their clone commandos, all that, and then you go to the Empire and they look stupid. And then like the Rebellion looks like a ragtag bunch of terrorists. Obviously, I get it, they're terrorists. But then like even when the New Republic gets formed, they still look horrible. What are they doing?
No, all the Rebels gear just looks like absolute dog shit. And,
Thank you.
There's no cool. Name me a cool looking Rebel.
No, I will say this: in the Star Wars Galaxies, it was an MMORPG game that actually me and my brother played a lot when we were kids. And there were some nasty looking armor sets for the Rebels, like the Spec Ops armor. There's the Rebel Commando armor. Those looked nasty.
Which game are you talking about?
It's before the Old Republic MMO came out. I actually followed the MMORPG game coming out like on my computer.
Was it something to do with like Galactic something? I can't remember exactly.
It's called Star Wars Galaxies. You can actually go into space, do space missions. You level up through space missions. There's like your space level and there's like your actual ground person level and stuff. You can buy ARC 170s. You can end up buying a frigate. like a freaking Star Destroyer or like a Rebel capital. And they actually shut down the servers, which sucked because like there's actually videos you can look up of everyone there at the last day before the game got turned off, and it's sad because it was actually a really great game. Actually, when it first came out, you couldn't beat because they changed it a lot over the years. When it first came out, it's a free-form game where you could basically customize your character's class any way you want it. And then, like when the game got updated, they said, well, no, you can only be an agent, a commando, a smuggler, a spy, a entertainer. You can actually play an instrument. You can just leave your guy on just playing a song the entire day, and he can max out his level, just doing stupid stuff. They didn't do combat. It was you can do a trader, and there's one more, and a medic. That's what it was, yeah, or a medic, or you can be a Jedi. And you can either join the Rebels or join the Empire. And like there were moments where like you just be in Tatooine, Mos Eisley, then out of nowhere you see Darth Vader walking around with his stormtroopers. And you can actually fight Darth Vader, which is actually kind of cool. But like at the beginning of the game, you couldn't be a Jedi. You had to find like a Jedi holocron, which is like 0.001% drop rate or something. It was super low, and people like tried their best to find out how to become a Jedi, and then they're like, okay, we can all be Jedi now, and it was like the most broken class in the game. Sorry, I had to go on that little rampage there, but there's just so much they can do, and I'm tired of Empire. I'm tired of it. The only cool thing about the Empire was Darth Vader, and even he doesn't have as many scenes as he needs to actually be more fleshed out, other than the Ahsoka versus Darth Vader fight. That's it. Yeah, I can't really... apparently the High Republic is going to be looking cool. The new stuff that for Star Wars is going to be coming out like 2021, 2022 through the 23. So we have a good future to look ahead to for Star Wars, in my opinion.
Hopefully.
I think so, because George Lucas is back.
Yeah, and I think as long as they put it in Dave Filoni's hands or Jon Favreau, who's done an amazing job with the MCU.
Or the girl did The Mandalorian.
Yeah, that too. Mm-hmm. Which even Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau had a hand in that. And
yeah,
they're both
you're right.
Amazing directors.
You're right.
Because Jon Favreau's done an amazing job with the MCU so far, and I'm sure he'll continue to do that. But also, Dave Filoni did an excellent job with all of the Clone Wars stuff up to Season 6, because he was the main guy on it too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we've got a good future ahead of us, as long as you keep it in those three people's hands: Lucas, Favreau,
Kathleen
and
Kennedy.
Filoni.
Better say, she got fired. She's gone.
Actually,
so
if you actually think about it, for like, what probably the shit that George Lucas took for the first three movies, and then realizing that the first three movies are some of the best things about Star Wars.
Yeah.
See, everyone just... I am so tired of everyone hating on Phantom Menace, and like Attack of the Clones, I can understand it. Attack of the Clones, I can understand it. I hate Attack of the Clones. I think that other than Anakin and Padme's thing is weak. And Hayden Christensen's character in that did not like it, but Revenge of the Sith he made up for it. He did a great job in Revenge of the Sith.
There's one part in Attack of the Clones that's his best thing, and it's when he goes into the Sand People and just starts slaughtering them all.
And the women.
And I was just like,
and the children too.
I was like, yes. I was like, that's what this fucking movie needed.
I like how calm Padme was when he just told him that he just basically committed genocide on a tribe.
Yeah, he literally just absolutely just like cock slapped all these Tusken Raiders or whatever they were, and just like absolutely.
Well, they killed his mom. I mean, good God, if someone killed my mom, I'd probably go nuts too.
Be honest, if everybody's in Anakin's shoes, you'd be a little dark side mode on all their asses if you could. But there's just like times, but like even then, because that has an effect on him even during episode 3 when he has the visions and stuff. So episode 2 serves like some purpose to like lead to episode 3, which I guess is like the only good thing I could probably, well, some of the only good things I can really say about episode 2. But Phantom Menace is awesome because not only do you get Darth fucking Maul, but you probably get one of the greatest scores that's ever been written for a movie, freaking Duel of the Fates. Freaking John Williams is fucking nasty motherfucker. But like, you get that, you get introduced to like, of course, like lovable Jedi, like Obi-Wan when he's young, Qui-Gon.
Yes.
You get your first introduction into like all the council members you'd see later on in the Clone Wars in Episode 3, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Mace Windu. You get to see Yoda when he's not fucking about to die on Dagobah. Like an old decrepit Yoda on Dagobah.
I have to say it.
Count Dooku.
Yeah.
And the actual Count Dooku, the Christopher Lee Count Dooku, not the fucking Battlefront Count Dooku.
I love that guy.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
I had to. Star Wars released a new trailer for the last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars coming out, and I actually made a comment on it, and I had to, no one's really liked it, and that's fine. But I said I need to say this. But what were you all thinking with the Ahsoka and Trace storyline? What a waste of time for the final season of such a great animated series. I've been so utterly disappointed in the last 4 to 5 episodes, and I really hope you guys can end the series strong. I hope that this is the last bit of disappointment I have of Star Wars, and I hope that this Friday, I get more excited again for it, because I've been very disappointed. And something tells me that Kathleen Kennedy had her way a little bit with the Clone Wars. Honestly, something tells me that that's the reason why. Because there's no reason why they would add such poor characters like that for no reason. And one guy said, like, well, they have to have a transition phase for Ahsoka before she goes back to the Jedi. I'm like, no,
they could have done something better.
Exactly my point. You can have a transition phase, but not make it like over 4 to 5 episodes that take up almost half of the freaking last season, and they're just utterly weak and garbage. I don't know, Aries, have you even watched it yet?
No, the only episode I watched was the ones I watched with you the last time.
Literally, if you wanted to, you could just watch like the last episode that just came out, and you'll be fine. You won't miss anything that's important. Because literally, it's terrible.
Oh, well, side note here. Honorable mentions for the fallen of our COVID people. Actually, really a voice acting legend. Rick May, he was the voice actor for Peppy Hare and Andros in Star Fox 64. Died today of COVID.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I hate that.
That is, I'm actually very sad on, like, do a barrel roll, try a somersault, like that guy. Like, he is, like, he died of COVID-19, I think at a home somewhere, but, I just had a buddy of mine that sent me that, and that fucking stings a little, because Star Fox 64 is one of my first games I ever played, and it was, I think it's also one of the, it might have been the first game with on the 64 with voice acting. I want to say that got released with the 64. It was something like that where they actually had like fully rendered animation for people doing it. Because before then it was just like text that would go across the screen. But I think Star Fox was one of the ones that actually had introduced voice acting into video games. And Rick May is a legend. And that's kind of automatically sad, but another honorable mention, he did not die from COVID, but Bill Withers, I think it might have been a week or 2 ago, actually died of heart failure, I think, at his home. It was because I was definitely sad on that. But just some honorable mentions for some of my favorite folks that I had in entertainment and video games. But also, well, a lot of people don't realize this too, but kind of a fun fact to go off that, the voice actors that have played Heihachi in the Tekken games, after they voiced him, they've all died.
Oh god, is that a cursed role?
It's a cursed role. The last guy who played Heihachi before Tekken 7, he killed himself. And then of course the guy who does it for Tekken 7 was also the guy from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that me and Hunter always make fun of. Oh my god! Like that guy, like he died in 2018, of esophageal cancer.
God.
And
that's a rough way to go too.
I want to say the actor before that was the one from the like PlayStation arcade series, and I want to say he died of like a heart attack or something like that. So like literally, it's like the Superman curse of what used to be the Superman curse. How they all thought people were going to end up like Christopher Reeves, but they all pretty much had that. But that was that's a fun little voice acting history lesson for everybody on the stream at least. But back to what we're talking about. But yeah, Star Wars is actually looking pretty good now that Kathleen Kennedy is out of the way.
Yeah, I think there's hope. There's literally a new hope. So it's, you know, people were very disappointed in the High Republic, and I completely am with them. I don't know what to really think about it. I think that play off what you have. Don't play off of new stuff. It's better to play off what you have and then go somewhere new with it after that. You know, I feel like they tried to play off the new series, the new trilogy that just came out, and they failed epically. Force Awakens honestly was a good movie. I will say it was a good movie.
Force Awakens is.
I think Last Jedi trash, and I think Rise of Skywalker it's above average. That's it.
But I honestly think one of the things that ended up selling a lot of it was in 7 was that it was like kind of like, you know, is this brand new Star Wars experience that we're gonna get. The hype was too real all around it, and like we were like, oh, okay, well it's gonna be, you know, this is gonna be a new.
Did he?
That we thought.
Okay.
I think my controller turned off.
Yeah, it did. I didn't hear you. He kind of went off.
Oh, but but I feel like a lot of it had to do with the hype surrounding, like, really 2 characters, or really 3 or 4 if you want to go back old school for it. Was Han and Chewie coming back, which we saw during the most of the trailers. But I think a lot of it had to do with like how Kylo got represented when they were first doing it, because they basically introduced him as what looked like a unique villain, and was going to, like, you know, his whole thing was, you know, the legacy of the Empire, the legacy of the Sith and Darth Vader and the Emperor, and like finishing whatever legacy they were going to start. He literally says it in the movie, and so I feel like somewhere along that line, like right after the ending of Episode 7, they were like, man, yeah, that was a pretty hype storyline. What we're going to do now is abandon it completely, and we're going to do something that's even worse.
Well, it's because they had different directors, and I thought that was the stupidest idea of all time.
Should have done all 3
Why did they do that? You don't split up and get different creative art directions, because then what ends up happening is if a guy goes AWOL, which was what happened, then the other guy has to then J.J. Abrams, he did Rise of Skywalker, did he not? Who did Rise?
Yeah, J.J. Abrams did. Yeah.
Then he's having to pick up the pieces and figure out how to make sense of what the garbage disposal of a movie that was the last one.
Which, in J.J. Abrams' defense, I feel like J.J. Abrams did the best with what he had and the material that got left pretty much at his feet, and everybody basically told him, "Hey, good luck." I agree.
I agree with you on that, but the excuse of Palpatine is inexcusable.
Yeah, that's the one thing he did fuck up royally.
What were you thinking?
Yeah.
Like, what in the absolute crap were you thinking? Like, don't ever make a movie and then release a book and justify things and make sense of things when that should have been the damn movie. I cannot stand it when they do that, and that's what they did with Rise of Skywalker. You can't even read the Grimoire. You can't read it. You have to go online.
They left it all on the Grimoire.
Yeah, stupid. So I don't know. Talking about Star Wars just makes me sad. Honestly, I'm tired. I'm tired of talking about Star Wars in such a sad tense. All I can do is be hopeful for the future. And that Mandalorian, I was super excited for every single episode.
How about we do something like this? I feel like this will lift our spirits of talking about this depressing ass Star Wars thing. Is some doesn't have to necessarily be a top 5, top 10, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just extremely hype moments in video games that you remember either.
Wait, and just Star Wars games?
No, just games. This is just any game that you played hype. Like something that when you watched it the first time, that you got so fucking hype that you couldn't like contain yourself.
Are we doing like a top 10 or just do top 5?
No,
that take forever to top 10.
It does have to be a top. Like you just literally list off something.
Okay, PT, you want to start off? Want me to start off?
Okay, now what is the criteria of this again?
It just has to be a hype moment in a video game that, like, really got you like immersed in the game that you're playing. It is, even if you don't particularly like the game. Like, I have hype moments in games that I don't even like. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Have me like they got me actually hyped for the game.
They got me hyped for the game.
Or just the story or the game, whatever. It could even be gameplay. If something in the gameplay even got you hyped.
I think this is something that everybody can relate to that tunes in on the stream. The COD, Modern Warfare 2, whenever Shepard kills Ghost and your character, and then you're like, all right, let's go. It's time to kill this motherfucker. Like that was the moment for me.
You play with Soap and
Soap.
Yes,
and you have to go through the plane yard with all of his men fighting with the Russians. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Alright, Breakswalver.
It's phenomenal. Yes. Just that whole game in general it's the best COD game.
It's $20 right now just for the campaign, the remastered.
Yeah, the remastered.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it came out. It looks amazing.
I would like to.
Ramirez, get over your ass to Burger Town.
Honestly, me too.
I would like to relive the cancer that was the Modern Warfare lobbies. I would like to relive that again.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Part of me, I've actually thought about picking up the new Call of Duty game.
Modern Warfare.
Modern Warfare, just so I can play the Spec Ops missions and play the story and all that.
Yeah, people said the story was worth it. They did a really good job with the story, which I don't think. I think it's very easy. It would have been very easy for them to screw it up. And the fact that they didn't actually speaks volumes to what they were trying to do.
They're remaking it. They're remaking all the Call of Duties, Modern Warfares. Yeah.
Well, because I think it'll actually be 4 games. I think it'll be the first Modern Warfare is the introduction into Modern Warfare 1.
Yeah.
That we all.
Yeah.
And then Modern Warfare 2 is going to be basically Modern Warfare 1. It's going to be they're just going to go in ascending order with 4 games, and they can because they can release fucking Call of Duties every year, and still have somewhat same quality, if not relatively better.
Well, I'm just saying, if y'all wanted to pick that up, I would pick it up and play it with y'all because I think it's on sale right now. So I actually would play it because I think it'd be fun to get back into playing the multiplayer and doing the war zones.
Or just do the Spec Ops.
Maybe just do the Spec Ops. Yeah, I'm with you, the Spec Ops. But
Spec Ops was so fun. But it was so hard.
The freaking winter one. Oh, tough.
The winter one?
Yeah, when you're in the.
Was that the one where you had to be stealthy or whatever?
Yeah, it had to be stealthy.
Dude, that was my favorite. I loved it.
Same, I loved it.
We need more stealth-based games. Like the only thing you got is Hitman.
Oh, I think there's a new Splinter Cell that's going to come out.
Splinter Cell would be good.
A new Splinter Cell. That'd be awesome. I love Splinter Cell.
There's a. Well, I guess you got to go off that. One of my favorite moments is just watching it was actually probably the Splinter Cell and Ghost Recon.
Yes, yeah.
Where you team up with Sam Fisher, and there's almost a really sad scene, but it actually was kind of like I was like actually hyped that people would remember the actual Splinter Cell games and just make a new one because they put it in the game. But it's where because Michael Ironside is just fantastic. What a great actor. But he's actually also in Smallville, fun fact. Like he just says one line, it's so good. He just says, "So it's just me." because
you're talking about the
he's referring to
Ghost Recon Wildlands. Yeah,
he's referring to the fact that Konami had split with Kojima, and that was basically the end of the Metal Gear series, because it was really just Solid Snake, Sam Fisher, and maybe Raiden from Metal Gear, and that was really kind of like the most things you had for.
Hey, speaking about good stealth games, PT, right now the complete edition of the Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain is like only like $5.
I saw that, yeah.
The full thing, $5, and I tell you, it's worth it. It's an amazing. You can do stealth. You can do just like you go in balls to the wall. You can literally your helicopter that gets you in and out of combat. You can let him play "Take on Me" while he comes picking you up. Take on me, take on me. Because you can find all these different cassette tapes to put in, and you can just play them. It's really fun. Okay, so for me, my hype moment. Here recently, I would have to say any of the Persona 5 main characters when they find their persona. You know, the dun, 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 Persona! Like, that's broken, because it's so cool. Like, when they break free and become their own person, I think that's super hype. You get into that fight, and you just wreck all the enemies.
I figured a Persona would be on your thing, too, because I don't even play this shit out of it.
And I'll do one more. It's when you fight Malik for the first time in Knights of the Republic, and you find out that you're Revan. I think that's a very hype moment. You're like, oh, crap. And then you go at him.
I got something funny to mention on that aspect, because like the first time I ever played that game, it didn't hit me who I was, because the graphics were so crap for the time. That I was like, who is this guy that just pulled off the mask? I was like, well, what is this? And then he was like, you're Revan, and I'm like, huh? What?
Yeah, because you don't look like, anything like. You don't look anything like it. It's weird. Your eyes don't even open up when you take the helmet off. You notice that? Like your eyes like squinting.
Oh, yeah, I noticed that. It was one of those things like I couldn't really get into in the moment because of that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's why we need a freaking remaster. That would be nuts. With good character customization, all that good stuff. Maybe a little bit change in how they did the combat. That'd be kind of cool. Not too much change, but like something that's, updated.
Something that's not, I guess you could say more, have it pretty much just like it is, but not anything that's like turn-based, I guess you could say, that's like legit turn-based.
I want it to be like, if you didn't want to actually be Revan and then go back to the Jedi, you could at least be a trooper or something and like have like combat like in the online game, where you can like freaking pistol whip a freaking guy, or you could take the butt of your rifle and knock into his face, throw grenades, like, stuff like that. Which you could already, but like I would like a little bit more. Sometimes I don't want to really be a Jedi that's something I hate about some Star Wars games. You're always made to be a Jedi. Stop it. Maybe I don't want to be a Jedi. That's why Bounty Hunter was such a fun game. Because you can literally just go Jango Fett style, spam the square button, Square Enix, and you can literally just kill everything, and it's awesome.
Yeah. I would say I've got just a couple of mine would be like the ending of Kingdom Hearts 2, honestly. The last fight with just not even just the full fight, just the last part, Xemnas versus Riku and Sora solo.
Yeah, that's a good fight.
There's so many just hype, kick-ass moments. It's cinematic. It's got good gameplay. The boss fight is fun. Sometimes can be annoying because Xemnas is a little fucking bitch, but it's just there's everything that you want in a final boss for an RPG is in the ending of Kingdom Hearts 2. The hype, you get to play as another character, you get to play as Riku for a little bit, to save Sora, and like even just the ending part for like the final cutscene they do for it, yeah, it's just so fucking nasty. The other one would definitely still be in Kingdom Hearts 3. Which is shocker, I know. But Kingdom Hearts 3 does have some really hype moments. But there's the part right before you go into kind of the final fight with Master Xehanort, where you fight the first boss of Kingdom Hearts 1 the final boss of Kingdom Hearts 1, the final boss of Kingdom Hearts 2, and the final boss of Dream Drop Distance that takes place right before 3. And the music, like, them comboing you, they combo you, all 3 of them. Like, with their moves, you have to actually, like, watch out for Master Xemnas on, like, the cliff. It's just a really good fight, and, like, really hype, and even, like, the line he says, like, kind of before that, where they're talking about beating him, he just says, yes, if you survive that long. And, of course, like, the music cues, you fight the 3 guys, and after you beat them, they have, like, a cutscene where, like, they talk about, like just a bunch of stuff right before they die, and it's actually kind of sad, but, it's just like that. Those votes for me, just because I love Kingdom Hearts, but also just because even if you don't like Kingdom Hearts, you just get fucking hype off it. Like there's just no other way to say it. Like if you enjoy RPGs and JRPGs with it, then you just enjoy the fight.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, Matt. Actually, Matt, I have one that you might agree with before you say yours. The opening to Doom 2016.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just anytime BFG division kicks in for me, yeah. I mean, you got me. That's all you need.
So, like, I was talking like the very, like, when you, like, are in the coffin and you wake up and, like, you get the Praetor suit on and, like, you go out to the Mars, you just hear the opening to, like, the Doom, like, EP1. That,
oh, yes.
Like, that's just, it's
brutal and it gets me every time.
Yes, like it gets your blood fucking pumping. You go, oh shit, this is no ordinary shooter. This is
right.
This is testosterone boosting needle up my ass video game right here. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed that. Well, Matt, what you got?
Another game that it's just hard for me to think of anything just right off the top of my head.
Here, you keep thinking about it. I have one that I have to say. Anytime that we're fighting a monster and I start playing like that Naruto theme song, where I get immediately hyped up because it's so cool. Because like the monster's like knocking you back, knocking your buddy back, but you get right back up, charge right back at the monster. It gets so hype, so fast.
And like knocking him down, like putting him on his back, and like getting like using your grapple hook on him, and like that does feel hype whenever we do it in this game. Like it's extremely high.
And in gaming, that's a hard one. I had to think about that. Oh
like,
man.
I mean, there's like some stuff like for me. Another one is like the Warthog ride at the end of Halo 3. That's just like the music from Marty is so good. The build up for it, like escaping the last like Halo ring and stuff. Just you and the Arbiter. And just going out, guns a-blazing, trying not to fall to your death on that whack-ass Warthog controls, and just like that, like moments like that, like for me, that's hype. And I haven't played Halo 3 in fucking years, and that's still it goes in my mind.
I think I do have one. This goes back to a very favorite of mine, Bloodborne. Whenever you're fighting, probably either Father Gascoigne, which is the boss that most people quit the game on. That was a hype fight. This is one that it pisses Jake off just to even think about, because Father Gascoigne is ridiculously hard if you haven't figured out the gaming curve by then. But the Orphan of Kos, which is the final fight in the DLC before you completely finish the game, you can take on the DLC, finish up all the boss fights there, and then go fight whoever I can't remember what the guy's name at the end of it was. But you fight the Orphan of Kos before you could go on to fight him, and then that would end the game. Before you got, or unless you did the secret boss.
That's right.
Unless you did the secret boss fight, which is where you're going to become like one of the chosen ones or whatever that becomes like this. I can't think of the words exactly, but you become a monster of Lovecraftian horror, that kind of thing. But that boss fight is so hard, and I beat it on New Game Plus 7, so extremely hard difficulty as compared to the first time. And it still gets my blood pumping every single time I fight that fight. It's fantastic. And just the soundtrack to Bloodborne in general is amazing.
God,
but I'd say that's one of my favorites.
Anytime you have to fight Lubu at Hulao Gate.
Oh, yeah, in Dynasty Warriors, yes. God,
yeah.
They literally tell you to run from him. The game tells you, hey, you don't want to fight this motherfucker right now. You can go the long way around, but you can't fight this guy.
And then he's
gotta
like,
go.
then like after you start fighting Dong Zhuo, he's like, Lubu, protect me. And you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And he runs back and just toasts you if you don't kill him fast enough.
Yeah, I do like how that game literally just tells you to run. It's like the only time in the series where they literally tell you to run. And like it's not even like I don't even think there's this original like Samurai Warriors thing where speaking of that, that's another hype. We've talked about it a ton before. Hanzo when he infiltrates the Imagawa.
I was actually about to say that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And
die.
Yeah. So, fun fact: his voice actor did car commercials before he did Hanzo. He just did like random like Kia Honda stuff. Like
oh my god!
Stuff. But hype one. The hype one would probably be for me. This is probably a little bit more old school, but it was Soul Calibur 3. With depending on you could when you're playing through the character's story mode, you get to choose which route you want to take, like to whoever you're going to fight next. And depending on your route, Siegfried and Nightmare fight each other at this lost cathedral, and like the music kicks in and everything. And depending on your route, you either fight Siegfried or Nightmare, but they fight each other first. It's a really badass like little fight sequence before them, and they like shit talk you before the fight, and then you actually have to fight them. Then depending on that, if you would against them or not, then you have to either get choices of 2 final bosses. And so I did like how like for a very early fighting game to have like the choice of like who you would actually get to fight for the final boss and stuff like that. It was really neat. The single player content for that game was outstanding too for a fighting game.
Shoot, I just had it and it left me. Crap, what was I was just thinking about it. God, I was literally just thinking about it. God dang it. Hype moment. Let it come back to me. Oh, shoot. Son of a gun, I literally just had it. Oh. Matt, you go if you have another one.
I can't.
Oh, I got one.
I got one. Else.
Original Battlefront 2 when you do Order 66 in the temple.
Yeah.
Yes!
Yep.
Why did I not think of that before?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to go through like your long-term memory of stuff sometimes. Like, you know, it takes a second for me. But like, yeah, what a great freaking mission where you go in and like you hear the clones talk about it in the 501st Journal. It's like, I remember how quiet it was. And
yes.
They go in and they just gun down the Jedi.
I think interestingly enough, I think if you go back, I think I watched somebody else do like a reaction for it. I think when you go back and play the mission, there's no music.
No, there's not.
I think it's literally just silent while you're gunning down the Jedi.
Which that just adds to that whole motif of just like betrayal.
Yeah,
you know.
There is one that I had more recently from a game that got released in 2017, Tekken 7. It's not the ending fight for it. It is one of the things that people saw during the E3 like demos for it and stuff, which was Heihachi versus Akuma, and the cutscene that goes through that, the fight, the ending of the fight. It's just like Heihachi hits him with a nasty combo. Akuma hits him with a raging demon, and like it just all you hear is Bakurue Kaka. And it's just like the screen just you see all the hit markers come up, and it's just like it's just so fucking high. Like I mean, people have to I think are kind of used to it now, but people have to remember that when this game got announced, that everybody's like, okay, well, it's another Tekken game. No, this is another Tekken game that fucking brought the hype and is probably still not only one of the most watched at EVO, when it comes on, but also probably one of the most hype fighting games just because of the slow-mos and everything. The slow-mos could probably be one of mine on just Tekken 7 alone, but that fight in particular is just like two worlds kind of colliding without really feeling like it didn't earn it. And that was like really satisfying for me. Just as a fighting game fan, it was like super satisfying to see somebody from Street Fighter and somebody from Tekken in a new engine with a new, like, the cutscene, engine made it look pretty. It's just fucking phenomenal. The Bandai Namco, like, if I could stand and clap every time I watch that and watch the fight and play it, I would give them a standing ovation every time because it's just amazing.
The one thing I keep thinking about is the very end of Halo Reach, where you have to survive as long as you can.
Yeah, with Noble 6.
With Noble 6. I mean,
I've only heard about that, and that's like the stuff of legend, honestly.
Yeah.
It's rough because it's hype, but I feel like I have more hype moments from watching TV shows like anime, and one of my that's where I feel like I've had more hype moments.
Let's do that. Let's just do
Sephiroth at the end, Mika versus the Moon Battalion. I can't remember what it's called.
Battalion, yeah.
That is such a OP fight. It's not like anything in depth like Dragon Ball Z or anything, but like it's just if you know the story of what's going on, you just like, and you have Hiroki Sawano playing in the background. Are you still my family?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it hurts.
Yeah, that's dirty as hell.
And let's see, any fight with Alno is Zero.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and put Alno as the entire fucking anime. Let's just go ahead and put that
fight
on there.
is literally top notch, and it's very well thought out and interesting, and it's hype the entire time. Code Geass, God, that show is hype money. I actually just got done watching.
Even say, even the first couple episodes, probably one of my favorites. Just Lelouch versus that kind of like small Italian that he goes up against. It's just absolutely
dude. I actually just got done watching the new movie that came out, Lelouch of the Resurrection.
Mm.
Really good. It's a really good movie. I watched on Amazon Prime. Very good. I enjoyed it.
One of mine, probably from anime, is from Full Metal Alchemist original. Mustang versus Envy, and
yeah, that's a good fight.
I mean, God,
that's pretty cool. Snaps his finger. Yeah, there's that one. PT, do you have any like favorite boss fights? Or fights in anime or anything like that?
Fights in anime, I would say.
Hype, yeah.
If it had to be one in particular, it would be. I can't remember the name of the people that were in it, but it was Seven Deadly Sins with the jacked dude that when he brings down a fireball on some random guy, he actually torches him.
That's it. That's up at his alley.
That one.
Who's that fucking clown's name?
I don't know why I can't think of his name because that's my favorite.
Escanor. It's Escanor versus the Ten Commandments. Yeah. That was
epic.
Awesome. Right.
Dude's just like, I become more powerful as the sun reaches its highest point in the sky.
And you're like, that's broken. That's absolutely disgusting.
It's like the highest point in the sky, and he's like, I can take it. And he just brings it all the way down. He's like, well, pride be upon you. Just blows him up. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's good.
He said, where's the lake? What do you mean, where's the lake? He's like, well, I don't want to kill everybody. I just want to kill him.
Oh my god, that's good. That's a really good one.
That's a fantastic one. But I also, this isn't necessarily a fight, but once you get to the end of Death Note, and you're like, he gets to that final place, and you think, he's fixing to pull this out. He doesn't deserve it, but he's fixing to pull this sucker out. But he doesn't, and he winds up getting killed for it. And that, I was so mad that he died, but it was like, it fits him because he killed so many people, whether they deserved it or not.
I never finished it, but I watched the ending. It was so good.
God. Oh, you didn't finish it?
I need to finish it. I knew the ending,
though. It's so good. It just ramps up all the way until the end. And that's like 30-something episodes. But the music, too. Maximum Hormone?
Yeah.
That's just, it's the best. I still have both Zetsubu Billy and What's Up People as part of like my workout playlist. It's fantastic.
Oh, I'm so sorry I didn't mention this. All Might versus Namu.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
All Might versus All for One. That's still a good fight. Most of the fights, freaking Midoriya versus what's the ice guy's name?
Todoroki.
Todoroki.
Yeah, that animation is on.
Is awesome when he goes in for that last, when they both go in for that last attack. Like it is so. Every time I watch My Hero, I am in tears from how hype it is.
Yeah,
it's God, it's amazing.
I don't think none of those fights I think compare with like just the All Might versus Namu is just like
it's such a great fight. It is so good. He's like, how can I beat an enemy that's literally genetically made to beat me? I got it. I'll punch him harder and faster.
Yeah, then he can hit me back. Like that's literally just like big dick, big brain plays. And like
the other one
that I thought, the other one that I think is really underrated is Midoriya, Todoroki, and Ida versus Stain.
That's a good fight. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like that's fucking really hype, and because Stain's a really good villain in my opinion. He's probably one of the best villains in that entire series.
Oh, this last fight they just did, it was an Endeavor versus one of those other. I can't remember the guy you fought. Great fight. I was like, whoa, that's awesome.
Well, another hype moment. Let's see, from anime, Vegeta versus Android 19. Mm-hmm. Oh my god! The first time Vegeta goes Super Saiyan. He's literally the most cocky son of a bitch, and he just absolutely molests this android. He like literally just like toys with him the entire fight, and you literally don't feel bad because it's fucking Vegeta. But like he hits him with like he hits him with the new move, fucking Big Bang attack. He hits him with just like he fucking pulls his arms off for no reason. He just literally just rips them off. And then after that fight, Vegeta's wanting to go whoop more ass. After Goku fought Frieza, he was like, "I think I'm done with this shit. I just kind of want to, be done with the fight." No, Vegeta is literally on the prowl after he bodies Android 19, and like he eventually gets bodied, but like he was like on the prowl after that. It was fucking nuts.
Maurice just posted a picture on Instagram. He says, #UNA Spirit Week, Team Tuesday. He posted the SOAR team when I was in it. It's on the dance. No, the team before me, with Noel and all them. And he posted the RA staff picture. I see you in there. There's Jordan Gowan in the middle, look like he hates everything.
Yeah, look at all scally as shit. Yeah. But there's another one that I don't think... Another hype anime that doesn't get enough credit, that I think it rightfully deserves. Older anime, Saint Seiya. Or Knights of the Zodiac. And it's actually all the Bronze Saints versus Hades. And it's just like... build it from... Going from arc to arc, and like, seeing there's still some like hype fights, but the Hades fight is fucking amazing. I'd probably throw in the Fist of the North Star before I would over that. The actual Omaiwa, the actual time that happens in the anime, it's actually pretty high.
I just thought about something. I have a question. What do you guys think about Resident Evil 4 remake?
I can't really say because I haven't played Resident Evil 4.
What? Oh, wow. It's on PlayStation.
My first Resident Evil experience was Resident Evil 2, and I didn't even get close to finishing that game.
I don't know how much you would like Resident Evil 4 because it's like tank controls, and like you have to aim your gun with the red dot sight, and it can be a little bit difficult. But Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite games. Yeah, I didn't play it on the PS2, but I played it on the PS4. It is, so good.
Resident Evil 4 is probably one of my favorite horror games. It's awesome. I enjoyed the shit out of that. I think I played through it like 2 or 3 times.
It's good.
I just couldn't play it anymore, but I played the dog shit out of that.
Well, I think this video's gone on for quite a while, about 2.5 hours worth. yeah, so we're going to end it here. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Shout out to Hunter and Holly for being cancer in the chat. And shout out to PT for joining. Glad you could get away from PT school.
Glad I could make it
survive.
as well.
Yes, glad you commented I can join. I didn't invite you because I thought you were working on stuff, so that's why.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I was just finishing up, and I figured y'all were still on the stream, so thought I'd join.
And then shout out to Aries Gaming Productions for tuning in and offering his insight on Final Fantasy VII. I always appreciate it. He's the one who basically showed me Final Fantasy, so I appreciate that. So anywho, guys, I'll catch you all on the flip side. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Deuces.
Yeah.